Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Thank you all very much for being here. And of course, a big thanks to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this stream. We have got 6 games for you today. Assuming nothing goes wrong, we're going to have some pretty cool new features for you guys to check out. It's nothing groundbreaking. In fact, well, if you haven't seen any of the recent streams, it may seem groundbreaking. But if you have seen the recent streams, then nothing that we're showing today is going to seem very groundbreaking. It's going to be like, oh, okay, I've mostly seen all of that before. But again, like the other streams recently, this is a little bit of a house of cards. So I have everything prepped, have everything ready to go. And hopefully we'll be able to get through at least one game without any trouble, without any difficulties. 5 1v1s, and then to finish us off, a 8-player 4v4. So if we get to that 6th game without any crashes, that'll be very good, but it will not have any kind of a new UI. It will have the old UI. But these 5 1v1s will all have some new statistics that you guys haven't seen before. I tested everything before the stream. It was all working. It's all there. But, you know, we'll just see. Maybe things will break. Maybe something will go wrong that didn't go wrong in my testing. Who knows? It's all live. We are stress testing this system. Now, for those of you guys who saw the Red Alert 3 stream, the Red Alert 3 stream was using essentially an app created by this guy, Double Evil or Double Evil. He created a little app that automatically hooks into Red Alert 3 and displays things in a little bit more of a user-friendly way for me. Kane's Wrath doesn't have this working yet. We think we're pretty close on it. Lily has been doing a bunch of work behind the scenes on that. And we think we'll get there eventually, but we're not there today. So we're still using the old, jankier method. Things are a little bit slower. Things, if they break, are much more difficult to fix. But, like I said, I think we have got everything set up the way that we need it. We have got everything tested and prepared. And with that being said, let's see how thorough my testing actually was. Let's find out just how good my preparation turns out to be. I think we're going to have 5 games go off without a hitch. And honestly, the other day when we streamed Kane's Wrath, it basically did go off without a hitch. So all things considered, it could have been a lot worse than it was. And, you know, for as janky of a setup as it was the other day, it's actually worked out pretty well. Thank you all very much for tuning in to the beginning of this stream. We are going to be jumping into our first game. But of course, if you don't see all of the games, or if you have to leave and then come back, the VOD should be available immediately after the live stream ends. So you should be able to either just use the DVR function here on YouTube, back up the stream, watch what you missed, or wait until the stream to end, and then it should post basically immediately. And of course, due to Surfshark sponsorship, this stream will be YouTube ad-free, so there will be no pre-roll ads, there will be no mid-roll ads on YouTube. There's no interruptions to the games. The Surfshark sponsorship is covering the ads, so no YouTube ads on this stream. And yes, we are indeed live, says Whispering Entity. I almost called you Whispering Eternity. I almost misread your name, but that is enough yakking on about nothing. I've been drinking my coffee. I've been sipping on that as we prepare for game number 1. Welcome to Tournament Desert Redux, a map that we have not seen hardly at all. I don't remember seeing this map very much. I had to do a double take. I thought I already cast this game between these guys, but I must be thinking of something else, because in the north, spawning as the purple GDI, this is Patroclus. Purple GDI, and it is a mirror matchup. So playing as the yellow, playing GDI, this is Samurai Jack. This is one of those things where, like, maybe I'm just thinking of something else, and look at that. Hopefully, everything does display correctly. Those of you who are here for our other Kane's Wrath stream, you will notice the UI is a little bit more crunched. It is not final, of course. We have a couple of more things on this screen. Number one, we have total spent, so you can see how much each player has spent. I just realized, Samurai, the colors are wrong. Samurai Jack is yellow. I just realized after all of that prep, all of that work put into this, the colors are flipped. Samurai Jack is yellow and Patroclus is purple. But I believe the stats are correct. So the stats of Samurai Jack are his stats. It's just the color that is wrong. So fortunately, the faction icons also line up because it is a mirror matchup. A relatively slow opener. This is a map that we don't see played very often, but you've got one field, and then it's a shared, contested field between you. One tib spike per player. This is a pretty low eco map, especially compared to what we normally see with the maps these days. The number of green and blue fields per player is a lot lower in this case. A couple of riflemen trying to escape there. So anyways, back to the UI. We should have power used, power max, buildings, units, and then total amount spent by each player and total amount gathered by each player. And then, of course, their current income as well. So we're just trying out some different stats. We're trying to, you know, see what works, what doesn't work, find the best combination of things, and just try some stuff and see what is best. See what's useful, see what's not particularly useful. And yeah, the colors are reversed, but the other stats are correct. So after all of that testing and prepping and everything, I messed up the colors on the very first game of the day. A couple of APCs heading over to the right side of the map. A couple of rockets inside of these APCs. An engineer as well. Samurai Jack, the yellow player, not the purple player, but the yellow player, Samurai Jack, is indeed going for a little bit of a sneaky engineer play. He's got a couple of rocket APCs. They're going to get torn apart by these spreads. Sheer numbers will be in the advantage of Patroclus, the purple GDI player. And this engineer, where is he going to go? Is he going to go try and go for the MCV, or is he going to try and go for... No, he's going to go for a refinery. He might actually get the harvester as well. The Predator tank is going to have to go for the crush, and the Predator tank misses it. The harvester gets grabbed, and now Samurai Jack, the yellow GDI player, controls a harvester and a refinery on Patroclus, the purple GDI player's side of the map. Already. Oh, he tries to get a second engineer out. He tries to get a barracks down and get out a second engineer. The barracks does deploy from Patroclus. It gets sold off basically immediately because Samurai Jack sells off that refinery. Double engineer as the follow-up. And actually, there's no units on the left side of the map to stop an engineer from just walking over there and taking that tib spike. So if that engineer had started its journey a little while ago, he could have actually been there by now, captured that tib spike, but that would have been a little bit of a blind gamble, a little bit of an uncertain thing for Samurai Jack, the yellow GDI player, to do. Predator tanks coming in from Patroclus. First refinery on the natural expansion. Very short walk to your natural expansion on the map, Tournament Desert Redux. Not a map we see very often, and hey, it's for pretty good reason. It is kind of a weirdo map. Also, I think this might have actually been a map that didn't ship with the game. This is either a Kane's Wrath exclusive or this was a pre-order exclusive. So in those early days of Kane's Wrath, maybe not everyone had access to it. I don't remember. But Predator tanks are moving back. Patroclus is the purple GDI player. Samurai Jack is the yellow GDI player, despite what the overlay may say. First refinery down, but nothing quite yet from Samurai Jack. He is happy to exist on this one refinery play that he was pulling off. I mean, he did briefly have 2 refineries for a short while, but now he is actually going into Tier 2. So a little bit of a strange follow-up to such an aggressive and eventful opener for Samurai Jack. Command post is up for Patroclus as well. Both of these players kind of stabilizing around the same place, but Patroclus, I feel like, is just outstripping Samurai Jack in terms of income. Samurai Jack existing on 2 harvesters, 1 refinery, is going to be able to clean out a number of these buildings. He's got the Grenadier squad, so those buildings are being evacuated, and Samurai Jack is going to maybe even be able to clear out these buildings on the northern side of the map. No additional refineries yet from Patroclus. Grenadier squad does get crushed. Mass infantry across the middle of the map. No comp armor, no upgrades of any kind just yet, and actually APMO, it looks like, hasn't even started for Samurai Jack. He's just going to garrison up some rocket squads into these buildings. That's actually a great spot for them. Harvesters being harassed. No hope for quick Grenadiers, as the barracks is only just now being placed down at the current moment. Rocket Squad's going to be able to clean up 2 harvesters, it looks like. Maybe they'll get a third, but I do believe that was 2 harvesters going down on the front line. Samurai Jack, he may not have a strong economy behind all of this, but at least he is keeping up the aggression. At least he is keeping the attacks coming, and now he's going to have to eject out of those buildings. He's going to have to run away from the Grenadiers that Patroclus has built. Rocket Squad's going to be backing up. And I do feel like I'm a little bit at a loss as to why Samurai Jack has not expanded. Okay, finally he does get there. 1 refinery. It's not a great placement. I'm not sure why he hasn't repositioned his MCV into a little bit of a more advantageous position. But we'll see. Does it or not Gamer says, how long is this going to be going on for? Well, this is going to be 5 1v1s followed by a 6th game, a 4v4. So I don't know how long the individual games are. Why is this engineer running through the tip field? Oh, Samurai Jack loses the engineer to a latent shot from one of the Sonic Shatterers, I think. And the Harvester on the front line, Rocket Squads trying to jump into that building. They do get cleared out by the Grenadiers. Once again, the Grenadiers killing off everyone who tries to jump in those buildings. And these engineers from Samurai Jack, I don't know what his plan was there. He sent engineers to the front line, and this is not how I assumed this game was going to go for. I thought for sure with Samurai Jack opening up that way that he had a plan. He had some kind of way of finishing out this game in a fantastic way. But is he just going to get smashed here because he never built... I mean, he did eventually build 1 more refinery, but it really wasn't much. And yeah, Samurai Jack with an unceremonious beheading at the end there. What a letdown there for Samurai Jack. I feel like he was our hero, and then he just kind of did nothing. What a weird game. But Patroclus takes it back, and I guess that's the GG. That's the end of that game. And well, we're going to be jumping into another 1v1. That is wow. I was excited to see a Tournament Desert Redux game, and that one didn't quite live up to all that I had hoped. All of my hopes and dreams, my designs and aspirations. This is just, it kind of fell apart right at the end there for not a particularly good reason. But we'll see. Hopefully, I haven't messed up the colors on this one as well as we jump into Infested Coastline. Welcome to game number 2. Infested Coastline, a map that I love to see when it is here. Well, Tournament Coastline as well. We'll see. On the left side as the pink GDI. That was a little bit wrong. Pink, not purple. This is Libo. Or maybe Libo? Libo? Who knows? On the right side as the Cyan. Oh, wait. He's up here. Wrong spot. As the Cyan marked of Kane, this is Ryldcom. Ryldcom versus Libo. And there we go. I think the colors are right this time, so the stats will be a little bit less confusing. I guess, fortunately, that last game was only like 8 minutes long, so hopefully the rest of these games will be a little bit longer, a little bit more action-packed, a little bit better showcases of Kane's Wrath. Master Chief, where can you get this map? Well, you can get this map on the internet. Most people download all of these custom maps that you see as part of the 1.02 Plus map packs. So currently the map packs are only available through the Command Post app, which you download from the website CGF, I think, -uploads dot something. CGF-uploads.com or net or org. Why is it not commandpost.com? I don't know. Why is it not Command Post anything? The one reason people go to CGF's website is for Command Post. And the website is like cgfuploads.net or something. And there's a hyphen in there. So most people get all of these custom maps that you will be seeing at any point during this stream. Most of the time, they come from the 1.02 Plus community map packs. Occasionally, there will be a map from somewhere else that's just a random map that someone has posted on ModDB or one of the other fan mapping sites. There's a handful of Command & Conquer fan sites that host basically just maps. Like their main thing, it's like, you know, cncmaps.com or something. But most of the time you see a custom map, Infested Coastline, anything like that, it's going to be from the 1.02 Plus map packs. GDI versus Marked of Kane, a matchup that we have seen a super ton in the last couple of years, but Libo, not familiar with him basically at all. Ryldcom, a little bit familiar with him, but not very much. And once again, if you guys are enjoying the overlay, well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I actually can't really see it most of the time because I am streaming at a travel setup, so I'm condensed down from what I would normally have. I'm streaming in a smaller way than I would normally be. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stats. I can't really see them most of the time, so they are mainly for you. Operations Center coming in, and a fast Tier 3. Okay. All right, Ryldcom going right to Tier 3. No upgrades. He's doing this for some other Marked of Kane reason. I mean, it could be a Redeemer rush, a one-base Redeemer play, but we will see exactly what. Will we see the coveted Marauder, Mutant Marauder, on this stream? I would hope so, but I don't think so in this game. I don't think there is a Mutant Marauder hobble on this map. Libo is gonna lose a Harvester. I'm not sure what the response is. Did he go like a full 3 refineries with nothing for defense? That is a little bit of a scary thing to do. He will pay the price of only 1 Harvester. A very narrow kill there on 1 Harvester. Doesn't get the second one, but like, wow, that could have been so bad. In fact, he does have a couple of pit bulls on the other side of the map. He is going to be cross-mapping a bit, and he will be catching this stealth tank right as it spawns in. Ryldcom is going to be trying to trade out against these pit bulls, and this is actually the better choice for Libo. So he was not defenseless. He was, in fact, on the offense on the other side of the map, and he kills 1 Harvester, kills a stealth tank, and he sees that fast Tier 3 with the Tib Core missiles, we can only assume, coming out from Ryldcom. Yep, there's Tib Core. It finishes up, and there's these Tib Troopers running through the middle of the map. Libo, he is well set up, but can he mount the army? Can he stay on top of the stealth tanks? Because he's got the Harvesters, he's got the refineries, but if Ryldcom is here just to go for a stealth tank rush and then combo that with EMPs, this could be a playstyle that's very frustrating to play against. Pitbulls are very difficult to hit with EMPs. As long as they're moving, they're pretty good at dodging EMPs. Catalyst missile crashes in, finds 1 refinery, does a little damage to the other 2 Harvesters as well. And mass pitbulls from Libo, not a bad plan as he tries to get himself all settled up. 1 refinery does survive, 1 Harvester does survive. And the pitbulls will miss the angle on those sneaky stealth tanks. Pretty good EMP there, locks down 2 of the pitbulls, but, well, no more than that. And there's nothing nearby to kill, no units nearby to kill off those pitbulls, so the pitbulls will be able to dive. Trading out a couple of pitbulls to get guaranteed kills on those stealth tanks, almost always worth it for the GDI player. Stealth tanks are one of those units that are so incredibly frustrating to deal with. I don't know if it's worth trading out all of your pit bulls. We'll see how many pit bulls actually survive. For now, stealth tanks going to be getting the lockdown on almost every single pit bull. 2 stealth tanks survive, and the last pit bull goes down. All right, Ryldcom has struck. He has been beaten back, and now he has the upper hand once again. The pit bulls have all been cleaned out. Stealth tanks, they're slippery little guys. They can just sneak around the map. And Libo felt like he had a pretty good way to deal with them, and now it feels like he is not quite as set. Getting a couple of the stealth tanks, definitely good. Losing all of your pit bulls, trying to get the last ones, not so sure about that. But a couple of rocket squads might be able to help him deal with this, or a sonic emitter, but the sonic emitter is being dodged as the stealth tanks almost get bopped by that sonic emitter and go for the dodge, splitting, and this might be stealth tanks only. Okay, so that explains why Ryldcom has been playing this one out a little bit weird, is he does seem to be playing stealth tanks only against this Libo fellow. And Libo is going to be hating stealth tanks quite possibly for the rest of his life, although he does find another one. If the Predator tanks could ever actually get in on this action, that would be phenomenal for Libo. But of course, as soon as those pit bulls go down, the Predator tanks have a much harder time dealing with the stealthy boys. 2 more stealth tanks do go down. Harvesters off the line, but this obelisk probably cannot be dealt with by the forces that Libo has. Sushi and stealth tanks is apparently the name of the game for you. And the obelisk gets a couple of shots off before the Preds back away. Oh, Predator tanks versus an obelisk. You need a couple more than that. Although, okay, Orcas, if they're able to sneak in here when the stealth tanks aren't around, they could snipe some harvesters. If they end up getting caught by those stealthy tanks, it's going to be a short life for the Orcas. Redeemer Engineering Facility out on the field. AP ammo finished up. Watchtower going to be pushing back that Tib Trooper squad. Predator tanks on the front line. Little bit of everything from Libo. I feel like the only thing he's really missing is the Marv. He's got a couple of Predator tanks. He had some pit bulls earlier, I guess. Maybe he doesn't have any pit bulls currently. But yep, all right. There's going to be the Reclamator hub out on the field. The Marv is on the way. Redeemer looks like a little over halfway done. Maybe a little low power mode for Ryldcom. A little bit of slowing down the production. Both of these players happy to play this one out on 2 fields. They both advanced forwards. They did not go to the somewhat closer, awkward field that is down the hill from where you spawn in. I guess it's probably about the same distance. It's just in the other direction. It's away from your opponent instead of towards your opponent. Ryldcom keeping up his stealth tank attacks, cleans up another harvester as the Redeemer steps out onto the map. Kind of nod. Maybe 2 engineers, or he could go 1 Tib Trooper and 1 engineer. He does keep around the Redeemer Engineering Facility, so all right, it looks like he is going to go for the Tib Troopers. You know, they're not terrible inside of the Redeemer, but I don't know, maybe the double engineer gives you better utility when you're a Marked of Kane player. Double engineer, double railgun, it looks like, inside of that Marv. Juggernaut's here as well. Libo has not been beaten down so much by these stealth tanks that he's not progressing along the tech tree, that he's not making it to those Juggernauts. EMP going to be locking down the Marv, at least for now. Spectre's going to try and trade out against the Juggernauts, but the Juggernauts clean up most of the Spectres as 2 more of them step in. Redeemer is taking a good bit of damage, but finally the Juggernauts have been dealt with. Venom's right on the front line, but no, it's going to be an air tower, I assume, for the mine drop. And it's going to be the Tib Core Missile Punch after that. Juggernauts knocking down that Redeemer shot after shot. but as soon as those stealth tanks fire off a round, so much of the HP of the Marv just disappears. And actually, okay, no, he is just doing this for EMPs, it seems. Marv gets locked down again. There's the magnetic mines falling on this Marv, trying to keep him locked down. Marv trying to escape. Redeemer has escaped as well, and the Juggernaut's not able to close the distance on those final shots against the Redeemer. The Zone Troopers not able to close the distance on that Redeemer. Both epic units survive, at least for now, but the Juggernaut's getting picked off. Another Juggernaut gets locked down. Stealth tanks can be dealt with, but not enough. One Zone Trooper squad gets the kill on one of the stealth tanks, but the other two do escape for now. Tiberium starting to disappear on the front line for Libo. Ryldcom still has half a field, and they both have their kind of backdoor expansions if they would just send Harvesters over there, or maybe even expansion. Oh! Libo making a little bit of a mistake, letting his Harvesters auto-harvest his opponent's field. I think he will pay the price for that. No, maybe he won't. Maybe Ryldcom will just let him get away with stealing this Tiberium. Stealth tank's now moving into a defensive position. Orca comes in, doesn't drop the sensor pod. I think he's looking for maybe the scan came down. Okay, he is going to drop the sensor pod on the Conyard. Fair choice indeed. Spectres reforming the front line. Another sensor pod gets deployed on top of the Marv, gives him that ability to see in the dark. Stealth tanks get a good blast off, and the Rage Gen fires off before they acquire the Redeemer. Those Juggernauts almost finding their mark, but the Spectres in the north, the unsung hero of Ryldcom, lock down those Juggernauts, save the Redeemer, and now the supercharged particle beam shredder turrets will deal with the Zone Troopers, so the stealth tanks can deal with the Marv. Ryldcom finding everything that he can to abuse this GDI player and take him down. No expansion, no fresh Tiberium for Libo. He has been torn apart by these stealth tanks almost all game long. They just got the final shots against the Marv, and now it's just a couple of Juggernauts here on the front line. Ryldcom's income, I feel like, has never really skyrocketed, never really grew to an enormous amount. He does finally clean up another Juggernaut. There's still two Juggernauts, and they've been pounding away at this Conyard, so Ryldcom is about to lose his Conyard, and the Marv is back on the menu. The Reclamator hub is up and working. One Juggernaut still firing away. The Spectres have mostly been pushed back, it seems. Those Spectres getting some absolutely money shots earlier on in this engagement. Orca is here. Sam Sights targeting down the Orca. Goodbye to the Orca. Unfortunately, not around for very much longer. The Redeemer hoping to close the distance on those Juggernauts to deal with them once and for all. Zone Troopers once again coming to the front line, but there's still supercharged particle beams. Even though there isn't an MCV here, there's still base defenses from Ryldcom. And yeah, Ryldcom's income has been pretty terrible through most of this game. He started out okay on his main field. Maybe he could even transfer one of these Harvesters away, send it to long-distance mines, something, so that his income can get off of the floor. Yeah, both players struggling on the income line for most of this game. Marv is back out in the field. Zone Troopers pretty much immediately jumping inside. Double Engineer is going to be the follow-up after that. And for now, the Shredder turrets, the SAM sites have almost all been beaten back. Just one random Shredder hub. Uh-oh, back on the front line. Oh, back in the main base. 3 stealth tanks find 2 Harvesters. Easy kills there for Ryldcom as he finds a little bit of damage. Engineer jumps inside of that Juggernaut. Back up to 2 Juggernauts working away. They are ready to go, blasting those Marked of Kane units. I think the stealth tanks, okay, yeah, they were indeed looking for, oh, Zone Troopers find the kill on one stealth tank. Not quite the second one. It's so low on health. Ryldcom depending so heavily on the stealth tanks, but he has not been able to keep them alive. They keep dying. They keep falling away, and now his two working harvesters have been cut down to 1. Oh, Ryldcom, your economy was always terrible. And now he's only got 1 harvester. Juggernaut finds a stealth tank. That stealth tank sitting still for a good long while. Libo with the Juggernauts back online. Okay, 1 Spectre is here. If that gets caught and killed, I don't think the Orcas were ever rebuilt, so no stealth, no sensory pods. It's just, I think, up to the zone troopers and their stealth reveal. Although they don't actually have, they do have scanner packs. They don't have power packs, but at least they do have scanner packs, so they do get that additional range, that additional stealth detection. Redeemer Engineer Facility getting targeted down. I think that's the last of the stealth tanks. The one that died a minute ago was the last of the stealth tanks, and if Ryldcom has lost all of his stealth tanks, that felt like that was a key component to his game plan, and now it's just fallen away. Libo, the low economy GDI play. He had 4 or 6 Juggernauts earlier. Most of those got blasted away, but once he got to 2 Juggernauts, he just came back a little bit. He said, I'm going to play this one a little bit more conservatively. I'm going to back up just a bit, and then I'm going to blast you to pieces. Those 2 Juggernauts have done so much work for Libo. They have done so much damage to Ryldcom. Oh, man, those Juggernauts. I thought the Spectres had cleaned up all of the Juggernauts a long, long time ago, but they never got those last 2. And those last 2 Juggernauts have been the thorn in the side of Ryldcom. They have been absolutely killer to Ryldcom. And now this combination of snipers and zone troopers has allowed Libo to keep moving forward. Redeemer coming in for one last play. He does find 1 Juggernaut. Supercharged particle beams are here to try and save the day for Ryldcom. It's here to try and keep him out of the dirt, and even a secret shrine right on the front lines. Finally, the Juggernauts have gone down, and it feels like as long as the EMPs keep coming, the Redeemer can escape, can find a slightly better spot. Why is the Spectre not firing? The Spectre isn't firing away. The Redeemer trying to buy time for itself, but this Spectre needs to keep the damage up. Oh, is there no War Factory? There was a War Factory, but it got leveled at some point in the past. Ryldcom and Libo so incredibly close to death, although it feels like, has Libo not? Oh, Libo, I think, never was able to rebuild those harvesters. He might have actually been running on only 2 harvesters since the stealth tank cleaned up the ones in the north back at the main base. The Spectre firing away, but now that the Marv is out of EMP, all of the Spectre shots are missing. They keep firing behind where the Marv was. Finally, a shot lands. War Factory and the repairs on this Redeemer might be enough to keep it alive. The health bars are getting closer and closer. The EMPs can't come in fast enough. Those sniper teams denying EMPs. Shredder turrets coming back down onto the front line. Power plant as well. Ryldcom pulling in all of the tricks, pulling out all of the stops. He's just hoping for 1 EMP, and the snipers keep denying it. Libo, the sniper king, the EMP denier. This is 3 or 4 EMPs from sold-off buildings that Libo has denied with these double sniper teams, but a fresh Shredder turret cleans up the snipers, and I think that will be GG. Your Spectre brothers did so much for Ryldcom, and this Spectre is like, Focus is accidentally friendly firing the Redeemer, missing all of his shots, not shooting, but GG has been called. Ryldcom finally makes it out in the end, but that was a hard-fought game, and one that was, I feel like it started out with normal amounts of income from both players, like normal economy, and then they both flatlined somewhere in the middle of the match. Okay, Libo, quite literally, almost a flat line there. This guy, something happened with his harvesters. He either forgot about them or he literally had 1 maybe. And that's just like Tib Spike income right there, just ticking away. But unfortunately for Libo, if he had been able to keep up his income, he probably would have completely outstripped Ryldcom in those last few minutes. But it does not... it doesn't line up, unfortunately, for Libo. He just wasn't able to keep up that pressure, keep up the income, and he completely fell apart at the end there. Ryldcom doing a goofball stealth tank build almost doesn't work, almost leaves him high and dry, but he does eventually find it there. Well, that's 2 games in the bag. Does current UI count support structures as well? What do you mean by support structures? Do you mean defenses? Because it does, but if you mean tib spikes, it doesn't. I don't know exactly how the game is counting structures, but I think the structure counter that you see is like structures that would keep you in the game. So anything that, well, no, because it counts defensive structures. Yeah, never mind. I'm not sure. Base. Like everything that's normal, that's a normal structure, is counted in the UI. So the way that nod shredder turrets, for example, work is that if you place down a nod turret, shredder, laser, SAM, that actually counts as 4 structures within the code of the game. So when you'll see someone place, like a shredder turret, for example, the UI for a moment might go, especially in the early game, it might go from like 3 or 4 structures up to 7 or 8 structures, and then back down as the player builds that shredder turret and sells it off. Although the UI reports only once a second, so you may not actually see that on your end. But if you see a faster reporting UI, then yeah. But yeah, so depending on what you mean by support structures, it counts everything that you can build. And I think it should also count outposts. But yeah. Does Leaf's 4K patch have a Tib Wars version? I don't think so. I don't think any... Yeah, I don't think it works. I don't think it's backwards compatible like that. I might have one replay on Green Zero's new map. I think I have one replay Hedgehog Gardens. I don't think that's the name of it. The map looks pretty sick. I'm definitely excited to see some games on it. It looks like it's a really well-designed, well-made map. Master Leaf seemed pretty excited about it as well. Foxholes, I believe, don't count as structures. So, I don't think foxholes count. I didn't test foxholes when I was setting that stuff up, but no, I don't think foxholes count as structures. All right, let's jump into the next game by getting the UI all set up. After a couple of weirdo games, we're now back on Tournament Odyssey. We're back to a familiar place here in Kane's Wrath. Tournament Odyssey for the next game of this set of the subscriber replay showcase stream sponsored by Surfshark VPN in the north. Playing as the blue Mark Dove Kane. This is Assassin Spy. Meanwhile, in the southern position, playing as the red GDI, this is Mayhem. Assassin Spy and Mayhem, two pretty solid names there. We'll see who is able to either assassinate or cause more mayhem. Hopefully the UI holds up once again in this game. We had that little bit of a kerfuffle with the colors being reversed in the first match. But after that, I think everything has been correct. I think everything has been good to go. Thank you all very much for tuning in to the stream. We're checking out 5 1v1s and then a big, massive 6th game, which is a 4v4 on a map that I have never seen before. I think the map is called something like Summertime. But, of course, the YouTube VOD should be available immediately upon the stream's conclusion. So if you miss any part of it or, you can't stay for the whole thing. You know, whatever it is. You showed up late. You missed part of it. Where is this MCV going? Where are you headed? The VOD should be available immediately, so you should be able to immediately check out... Oh, where's this MCV going? What are you doing? Assassin Spy. This is like... I feel like I've seen a game like this, but I think it was maybe Master Leaf or someone. It's like, all right, what are you doing? It's Marked of Kane versus GDI. He's got his MCV on the move, but he's actually kind of cutting a little bit to the north side. This is almost like a hidden MCV move, where if your opponent, the Marked of Kane squads can clean up the squads, and if your opponent is anywhere else on the map, they're not actually going to see this MCV move. If they go into your main base, they'll assume you've gone over to your natural, but Mayhem may be starting to put it together as he sees how many Awakened squads are on the front line. 4 or 5 here, right on the front line. And, of course, the Rifleman inside still fires even when the APC is EMP'd. The RIF can keep on firing. So, unfortunately, this is way too many Awakened squads to get to die to just one Rifleman. But those Awakens do come out. Now, this is 1 Refinery, 3 Harvesters out here for Assassin Spy. He does deploy that Hand of Nod. It looks like he's going to get 2 Engineers to capture both of those Tib Spikes, and he does have a couple of bikes camped out near the natural expansion of Mayhem. Mayhem is a good name for this game. Awakened are getting run over. And man, I feel like every single game that I watch, I just feel like I'm having deja vu with these matches. Harvesters getting pulled off the line. They are running away from these EMPs. And the Awakened squads now getting targeted out. All of them get eliminated. The EMP threat has been lifted, but a disruption tower being added into the mix. Enlightened squad here as well. Laser turrets actually do a decent amount to Harvesters. They have a faster fire rate that they do a decent amount to the Harvesters. Lots of hard rifles on the front line. If he could only get a refinery up at that expansion, Mayhem would have a much more solid economic base to exist on. Well, he can't do it now. Well, he can do it now that the bikes are over here. Enlightened squads on the front lines in mass, and it looks like cybernetic legs will be upgraded by Assassin Spy. This is a laser turret contained with Enlightened squads backing this up. I guess if you're gonna go Marked of Kane, this is the way to do it. He's only missing supercharged particle beams. That's the only piece of this puzzle that he doesn't have. These 4 Predator tanks getting knocked down, and he builds Predator tanks as a response to the laser turrets. But now it's the Enlightened squads that are blasting down those Predator tanks. And now suddenly the Predator tanks are useless. A couple of APCs popping on out, a couple of watchtowers as well. And now even shadow teams being mixed in here, as there will be no second front. There will be no expansion for Mayhem. Assassin Spy just cutting through everything. Enlightened and laser turrets. The somewhat unbeatable combination here as he power cycles all of his units and buildings on and off, trying to keep this front line moving, trying to keep these defenses online. Attack bike's going to be taking down that MCV. More Harvesters getting locked down. The income of Mayhem falling and falling further and further down. Close to 0 income per minute is what he's going to be at in a moment or two. Laser turrets are here. Still no tier 3, which, considering that this is like a 1 refinery 4 Tib Spike build, is not a big surprise. Any hope of buildings or upgrades falls away as Mayhem's income is truly going to be 0. There was a brief moment where maybe he could have tried to pivot over to the natural expansion, but that has been gone ever since those bikes repositioned. Low power mode for Assassin Spy, but honestly, he has a minute or 2 to breathe. He's not the one with no Tiberium, no Harvesters, and this Harvester needs to get back to refining that Tiberium, although at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just kind of typing to each other, if they're just chatting back and forth, and that will do it. GG gets called, and some quick games today, but man, that was something that if you are not ready for that, if you do not see that one coming, you just get completely sidelined by it. And I feel like I've seen that strat before by someone, the laser turrets into the Enlightened squads. That seems so familiar. Where you build something to respond to the laser turrets. It's like, oh no, I got a ton of laser turrets to deal with. And then they just go with like 5 Enlightened squads to follow that up. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but that seemed very familiar from Assassin Spy. That build, absolutely sick when you don't know that it's coming. That's one of those things that if you see it coming and you know what your opponent is doing, a lot easier to deal with than when you get completely blindsided by it. All right, next up, an old classic map. Yeah, it might have been Masterleaf. I might be thinking of Masterleaf. Maybe Assassin Spy is doing a little Masterleaf build. That wouldn't be too much of a surprise. Masterleaf does like his infantry. He likes his oddball strats. He does pump out things that most people have never seen before, things that most people wouldn't try. So that wouldn't be a surprise if it was Masterleaf. Oh yeah, that definitely is something. Friendly reminder, CNC4 exists. Yeah, there is a whole section of the Command & Conquer population that just, like, is like, oh no, Command & Conquer 4, it's not just a bad game. We have to pretend it doesn't exist, so. Epic Kingdom wanting to troll some people who are of the just pretend it doesn't exist crowd. Oh yeah, some Tib Troopers mixed in. Yeah, I can see that. When Leaf does it, would be effective, slowing down all of those vehicles. Then anytime you try and move, those Enlightened squads get extra shots off. And it's like, man, the only way you could really make that any better is if you somehow found the money to get out Tier 3 and get out Supercharged Particle Beam, but that's $7 grand. That, like, you can't, I don't know that the build has that much space. He did get 3 Harvesters, so that is a decent amount of Harvesters. I mean, that is kind of oversaturated, but it's better to have oversaturation in that moment than undersaturation. So getting 3 Harvesters is not a bad idea. And then, of course, as they start having to draw Tiberium from further away, they're no longer as oversaturated. Andy Ray just saying, hey. Hey, Andy Ray. Thank you all very much for tuning in, but we have more games to check out. We've got more matches to see. So welcome to Tournament Arena. A delightful and pleasant little spot. A handful of games that were sent in for this stream. A handful of them said something to the effect of, this is to redeem myself from that other game you casted. Maybe that's what Assassin Spy wanted to show. He's been showing up in some matches. And also, both of these guys have been showing up in some matches recently. So we'll see if they redeem themselves or if they need another shot at redemption after this. In the top left-hand corner, playing as the green black hand, this is Donald Trump. Old Donnie Don. Meanwhile, in the bottom right-hand corner, playing as the yellow, also black hand. It's another mirror matchup. This is Zemmy. 2 D names, and look at that. We have got the UI. It hasn't broken yet, as far as I can tell. Let's see, $3 grand for one player, 700 in the total gathered, 7-8 grand spent for each player. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do have no dollar signs on the lower amounts. If we keep the total spent and the total gathered, we'll probably add the dollar signs. But right now, just to give a little bit more space for these elements to live on the screen, there's no dollar signs on the total spent and the other one. Operations Center gets added on, so we may have a little bit of a flame play coming in here from Donald Trump. We'll see what old Donnie has planned for it. It's 1 refinery, 1 reckoner. Okay. What are we going to do with that Reckoner? Is it going to be a double Reckoner play, or is it going to be a Reckoner flame tank? What variety of this will we see? It looks like it is going to be a Reckoner with at least one. Oh, he's going for an upgrade, actually. Okay, this is a little bit strange. This is a little bit different. This is not something that I was expecting to see. Double refinery from Zemmy. So I think Zemmy is going for maybe a little bit more of a traditional build. Also, I think Zemmy did scout this, but double Reckoner with dozer blades? But he cancels the dozer. Okay, this is a bit of a confused mess from Dawn here. He's going rocket flames. But with dozer blades, and then cancel dozer blades, and then get it. I don't think this is a build. I don't think this is a build. Double rockets. Okay, this is a build where you go black hand and then triple rockets. That's a rush I've seen before. This is not the execution of it. Does this just fail because it's like a minute? This might be legitimately 60 seconds later than it would normally. He thinks it's an engineer. Or no, he does maybe just want to try and move the MCV, and he thought it was only flamers, because flames do so much less damage to buildings when they're backed up. The MCV goes down. Zemmy! Are you kidding me? Oh, Zemmy! I think maybe he didn't realize that it was rockets inside, and now they're rockets who are gone fully heroic inside of that Reckoner. At least the Reckoner is about to die. If he doesn't eject, he's going to lose everything. He does eject there, and the Rocket squads don't get targeted down first. The Black Hand squads get targeted down first, which is fair enough, but the Rockets jump inside of that Reckoner, and now this is a triple Rocket Reckoner blasting away at these bikes. All of the Black Hand squads have gone down, but all of the bikes have also gone down. Oh my gosh, Zemmy. I don't know who this was supposed to be redeeming, but I don't know if this is redeeming anyone. If this is one of the redemption games. A Black Hand mirror that is turned into absolute silliness. Dawn behind this actually going to be following up with a good number of harvesters, like too many harvesters for 2 refineries on 1 field, but enough harvesters that as he starts expanding out to his natural, oh my gosh, if he doesn't expand out to his natural, he's just going for long-distance harvester numbers. He's like, well, I'm going to be long-distance mining from the ends of the earth, so we might as well get extra harvesters because this is not going to be going well for me either way. Oh, he's going double MCV. So Dawn gets the double MCV, and okay, that was a little bit of a decoy army there, absorbing some of the shots from these Confessor Cabals. But actually, one of the Confessors goes heroic there, so he's going to be able to blast through pretty much everyone else. It is 2.5 harvesters per refinery. So if you have 2 refineries, that is a total of 5 harvesters. 3 harvesters per refinery, you have a little bit of a lineup like this, but 2.5 per refinery means that with 5 harvesters, the 3rd harvester will be able to cycle between the 2 refineries. This is a triple MCV follow-up. A weird flame, not even a flame rush, a weird Reckoner rush into a tier 3 triple MCV play. And this is, I don't even know what this is. Is the tier 3 going to get targeted down? Where are the obelisks? Are all of the obelisks queued and none of them are ready? Don has way too many things built. He's overspent and he didn't get a single obelisk deployed. Oh no! He goes for obelisks on 3 MCVs, overspends, and ends up with nothing. Harvester's getting torn down. Zemmy finds some damage at the natural expansion, and all of the harvesters just auto-harvesting to the nearest field, all pretty much at the same time. That's 2 harvesters down, a 3rd harvester under threat. The Scorpion tank is attacking the buggies. His Scorpion isn't focusing down the bikes, and now it's going to be double laser turret as the response, triple laser turret as the response, and the bikes were the last everything targeted. Everything that could have gone wrong in a couple of minutes there goes wrong for Dawn. He gets another refinery on his natural. He sells off his war factory back at home, maybe another structure as well. And the triple MCV will be the play into the late game, it seems. This is like someone who either didn't prepare well enough or they prepared and something got off, because that opening build was, 30 seconds later than it should have been, maybe a minute later than it should have been. The triple rocket flame reckoner, I mean, people have done similar things, but that was not the correct execution of it. And then the same thing, triple MCV with obelisks. It kind of works until you're trying to spend all of your cash across 3 different obelisks and none of them get completed because you need one now. Oh no. So this feels like a very human game. Sometimes you see Masterleaf or Futurama Drive, or these guys who just know what to do in almost every setting. They can get into these insane, crazy games that no one has ever seen before, and it feels like they're still making good decisions. And then when you or I try and do it, it's like, all right, I'm going to go for a Reckoner Rush. And then you don't have all of the timings quite down, and it's like, he's kind of scouting my Reckoner Rush. I guess I won't go double Operation Center, get Dozer Blades. Nope, don't get Dozer Blades. And this feels like a very human game. 2 guys who are not, playing some kind of untouchable perfect game. They're regular Joes. And you can see how much cash they have. Decoy Army going to be absorbing a couple of shots here from the defenders. Zemmy, he actually has a decent number of rockets right here. This is a decent number of rockets, decent number of Scorpions. Bikes coming in as well. Obelisks are slow firing. I mean, they will pop these tanks one by one, but the tanks are now going to try and pivot. Zemmy says, if I split my army, you can't defend 2 locations at once, and he may actually be right. If he's able to take down a couple of these upgraded power plants, that may be low power mode. Even if the obelisks get constructed in time, they won't be able to do anything. Obelisk goes down. Shredder turret does replace it. Harvesters are off the line, not doing anything, and power is right on the verge of being too much. Low power mode for the Dawn. As Zemmy keeps pushing forward, Harvesters may be able to get back to work, but the infrastructure damage is not over yet. Dawn does have to rebuild his war factory once again. Losing that war factory slows down any ability to get units out onto the map. Dawn has had the better economy in theory, but I think Zemmy has now actually kind of caught up. 4 Harvesters, 1 refinery at the natural, 1 Harvester, 1 refinery at the main. Could even maybe long-distance mine 2 of the Harvesters. It looks like he has been long-distance harvesting some of that blue in the top right-hand side. And Dawn, I mean, if his natural expansion is getting attacked, going for the blue in the corner might be the best thing to do. It's one of those things where even if you're, slowly getting money, it's better than just having them off the line or having them die to units that are attacking you. All right. Dawn and Zemmy feel like they both have an opportunity to get their feet back under them. Feel like they both have an opportunity to stabilize, to breathe for a moment. Decoy Army is here for Dawn, so he is going to be absorbing a couple of shots from these units. Oh, actually, it looks like it's here for both players. Absorbing shots from both. There's going to be some crushes coming in as the Decoy Army gets eliminated. Flame Tank mixed in. Zemmy is hoping that he can find some damage. Scorpion Tank's going to be targeting down those defenses, and the Redeemer halfway done, but I don't know that it'll actually have time to finish. It does have laser turrets. It is going to survive a little bit longer, but actually they're just running past. The Panic Fanatics are going to try and deal with the Scorpion Tanks as the rockets from Zemmy try and deal with the Redeemer engineering facility. Power is going down, but the Flame Tank gets burned, and now it's going to be just about surviving. No! The Redeemer does go down. The Reclamator, the Redeemer engineering facility gets annihilated, and now the Scorpion Tanks will find their final shots against these power plants. Everything gets sold off. Everything is off the line, and D will take the L as Zemmy gets the win. Oh, that last play for the Redeemer could have worked out if that attack would have come 30 seconds or maybe a minute later. It wasn't even that close, or it wasn't even that far away, but once that laser fence disappeared, that engineering facility dropped to the ground. And that will do it for that match. What was that? Was that game number 4? We had a couple of really short ones in there, so it actually... I mean, we're only an hour in, but I think we're through like 4 of the games. Yeah, that was game number 4. So we have 2 games after this. The next one is on Tiberium Rift. This is our last 1v1 of the day. This is our last 1v1 with the new UI, with the additional statistics that you guys get to see of the stream. After this, we go to an 8-player game, a 4v4. And that will just have the names. That will not have anything else. No, no income. No, yeah, you know, you guys know what the old setup looks like. And of course, we have the VOD will be available pretty much immediately. I mean, it might take a little while for YouTube to process it, but it should be available immediately. You guys can check out all of the action that you may have missed as we head through these games. All right, welcome to Tiberium Rift. Big thanks to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this stream, giving me the time to work on the stuff that you get to see on screen. Even if I don't get to see all of the stats, you guys get to see all of the stats. Let me know what you think of them, how you think they're useful or not useful. Do we need both total gathered and total spent? I don't know, but I want to try it out. On the left side, in the top, as the GDI, this is First Impact. In the bottom right-hand corner, playing as the green nod, this is Violet. Violet, something like that. They are not a violent person, they are a violet person. Which is, I guess, a little bit like a violet, like the color or the flower, and a little bit like violent, but violet. Anyways, some people saying what was it? The UI is too much to keep track of. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of think of it in the context of something like StarCraft 2, where you're not always, when you're watching StarCraft 2, it shows you like minerals, gas, supply, army supply, worker supply, upgrades, production. Like, you're not looking at all of that stuff constantly. But depending on, you know, the game, maybe some games you're a little bit less interested in. Maybe one game is like you're a Zerg player and it's a ZVZ, so you're paying attention to all of those stats a lot more closely. You're taking notes. I don't know. I feel like having the stats, it's nice to have, but no, I definitely agree. Oh, no, what are we doing? Oh, what are we doing again? More Operations Center rushes from these folks. But I feel like having the stats is nice to have them for when you want them. But obviously, you know, they're not all essential. We've been doing this for 10 plus years without any stats on the screen, without any additional information to the viewer. But, you know, this just helps us, hopefully, have a more complete picture of the games, have a better idea of what's going on. Even if I can't see it all the time, you guys can at least see it. And Violet going for a little bit of a flame rush. This is a flame tank followed up with a Reckoner and double Black Hand Squad inside. So this does feel like a mix between the old school version of this build and the new Master Leaf version of this build. The build that he busted out in the Winter Championship was double Reckoner. So it was not one Reckoner, one Flame Tank. It was one Flame Tank, double Reckoner. And then the split between them, the confusion and the chaos caused to your opponent, that is where the critical damage was done. And Master Leaf, a couple of different times, got such an advantage from those early attacks that he was able to essentially just win the game. In this case, Violet is going to find a pretty good spot. The MCV under threat, and it is going to have to pack up and run away. Fortunately, when it's just a flame tank, there's no rockets in with this attack. The MCV can survive a good while longer. There's the pack-up trying to stop this flame tank, but the flame tank gets the kill. The refinery goes down. The war factory has survived for now, but the power plant will be targeted. And some of these games have been fast. Some of these games have been short, and this one may be as well. Starting out in this fashion, attack bike's going to be the follow-up as Violet finds even more damage. He's going to be trading out against the pit bulls, so he's not going for harvesters after this. He's trying to extend out the life of these bikes and of the Reckoner by going for the pit bull. Maybe he should just go for the war factory. Harvester coming off the line, going for the crushes. And yes, that was a force fire on the ground near the MCV. Casper IDing that correctly. And when your opponent is doing the old pack up, unpack, oh no! Violet is taking pretty massive damage on his own MCV just from a random rifleman squad. Not even from any deliberate attacks, just a rifleman squad. Pit bulls, it looks like, have all gone down. The MCV pops out right in the face of all of these bikes, so even more damage on that MCV, down to basically half health as that one attack bike gets the killing blow on the last pit bull. But a fresh pit bull pops on out, first impact, fighting for his life, hoping against hope to be able to make something happen here, to be able to take something away from this attack. But Violet does more and more damage, finding more and more harvesters. Every harvester that goes down, even more of a deficit that First Impact has to overcome. Violet behind this, one refinery, two harvesters. It is not some huge follow-up to this. First Impact knows that there is nothing at the natural expansion. And this is where stealing yourself, rocketing your nerves so that you can keep playing is key, because Violet is not in a great position. If you can defend from here, this is still winnable if you're the GDI. It's not good. It is not a good position by any means. You are not in a strong position. But it is theoretically winnable, depending on how these next couple of minutes work out. If Violet had that second refinery sooner, if Violet had more harvesters or any kind of infrastructure to follow this up, then it would not be necessarily a good situation to stay in. But it's like, this is, if you play really defensively, you play really well defensively, this is winnable. And Violet might make some mistakes. MCV is on, getting back up to full health. 2 refineries, only 4 harvesters. 4 harvesters, something like that. But no natural expansion just yet. Could be a natural expansion on the way right now. No, it looks like it is something else down in the south. Another war factory. All right, well, never mind. Violet says it is time to keep the gas on. It is time to do more attacking. And I mean, Violet could be following up with a refinery after this, but we'll see. There are some really, turtley styles that you can play as GDI, where if your opponent wants to be aggressive, you can just absorb, and just do that big damage. I don't know if First Impact is going to have time to set anything up before these units get here. Well, let's see. This is mostly buggies. Where are the bikes? 2 bikes coming. This is only 3 bikes as an attack. No, 4 bikes. Okay, there is 2 bikes already here. Well, it would be cool to see the build queue from each player. Yeah, that would be cool. That, I think, is beyond the ability of what we can do as people who are not developers of Kane's Wrath. Looking at the game 10, 12, 14 years after the fact. Build queue is, I think, too far beyond. I don't think there is any way to pull that out. There might be. Someone might come up with a very clever solution, but build queue is, I think, beyond what we can realistically do. All of the stuff you're seeing, that's relatively easy to do. Build queue is a whole different thing entirely. This is a lot of pit bulls. This is not a lot of bikes left over. Double War Factory in the south. A good choice for First Impact, going for that War Factory before any kind of economy to follow that up. What is this engineer doing? That engineer is coming from a spot where the MCV used to be. Violet wants to keep up the aggression. Violet says it is time to go, 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 and never stop going, because I'm going to sell my MCV and then go for an engineer cap in the north. Oh, pit bulls. Mass pit bulls, the solution to your early game problems if you are a GDI player. Bikes and Buggies going to be swinging around to the south side of the map, looking for more harvesters, looking for more pit bulls. And this is one of those things where... where's the engineer? We're going to try and keep an eye on that engineer. Okay, if the engineer is up there in the north, then of course Violet wants to pull all of the attention, all of the units down to the south so that engineer can run in. But there is a random rifleman squad. So as long as this rifleman squad doesn't actually get called away to the south, as long as that rifleman squad gets left there, then this engineer can't move in. This one random rifleman squad is actually going to be protecting First Impact in a way that he does not know. And that MCV cell does help lock Violet into this attack path, and it means that as the game progresses, First Impact has an opportunity to get ahead for the first time in this game, to be in the lead in some significant way. Double Watchtower is deployed in the south. The engineer's still alive in the north. One harvester getting targeted down. Pitbulls in mass responding. The harvester does go down barely right on the edge of range there. Buggies have almost all gone down. It's almost only bikes remaining, and bikes don't trade well against pitbulls with repairs and fresh reinforcements and watchtowers watching over them. First Impact has wheeled and dealed and ended up in a solid position. He doesn't realize it's against an MCV cell. So if this was Violet doing a normal game, then I think First Impact would still be dead. But because this is against an MCV cell, this is essentially a one base almost out of Tiberium. All right, the MCV got rebuilt. But this is a one base Nod player for so long. And now the MCV has been rebuilt, and it's like, what did that MCV cell get Violet? Basically nothing. Nothing at all. It's like this was an attempt to end the game, but because the game didn't end... Oh, that was a weird little lag spike. Because the game didn't end... Oh, did he just see that engineer? He swung pretty far to the north. He might have seen that engineers. Let's see. All right, the engineer isn't being targeted down yet. Command post is up. MCV's still at half health from that attack long ago, but yeah. This is now just a regular game with a very strange opener, and I think First Impact is now just in like a normal but good position. Blue Tiberium was a nice touch there for Violet. He sent his harvesters over there to grab that blue Tiberium after the MCV cell, and that was a nice attempt, but now it's just kind of like, oh, I have a natural, you have a natural, we're going to just kind of play this one out a little bit normally, but we had this very aggressive opening right at the beginning. Scorpion's going to be trading out against these pitbulls. One by one, the pitbulls pretty much all go down. The attack bike's trying to target in, but the pitbulls all get cleaned up. And, yeah. Well, that was a nice try. Oh, no, in the north for the first time. Impact finds some damage to be dealt. Unprotected harvesters, so many of them in the north. 5, 8 harvesters, 9 in total, but one has already gone down. Soon to be 7 harvesters as these pitbulls find 2 kills. The pitbulls can just sort of exit to the north and get a couple of final shots on these harvesters as those Scorpion tanks try to chase them down. So many harvesters, and in First Impact, this is fine for him. Yeah, trade out the pitbulls for a couple of harvesters, that's fine. Keeping Violet on Violet's side of the map so First Impact has even more time. Oh, that's the engineer. No, the MCV gets packed up. He gets spotted. That engineer came all the way down from the northern edge of the map, all the way to the middle where that MCV was in between the main and the natural. Almost gets the cap. Almost secures Violet a better position, but no, it gets sniped. How First Impact was aware of that, I don't even know. That is definitely a situation where I would have been like, oh yeah, I scouted his whole base. I saw with my pitbulls that he's got basically nothing, and now I'm killing off harvesters, and I would have been doing like a little victory dance, and I would have lost my MCV in that moment and then just tilted even more. But no, Violet does get stopped. Radar jamming missile fires off, which is like a double, triple confirm to first impact that, yeah, this game is progressing. My opponent has gone up to an operations center. If they're firing off that radar jamming missile, they're up to that kind of tech, which means that things are kind of normal. It's definitely a weird, like, if you were to launch into the game at this point, you'd be like, oh, this is kind of weird. Something must have happened early on. But, like, you know, it's just we've turned this into a normal game. 2 fresh harvester kills at the natural expansion. A little bit stacking there, so the splash damage is helping out First Impact even more. And First Impact is actually going to be mounting attack in the south while the Pitbulls kill everything in the north. Scorpion tanks lining up, and that means that Shatterer gets big shots off. But this is just enough of an attacking force to completely distract Violet. Every single harvester in the north going down. Preds versus Scorpions, and even if every single Predator tank dies, you've got no income, you've got no follow-up, you've got no way to bounce back as First Impact deals perhaps a killing blow to Violet. The economy is gone. The follow-up is going to be Pitbulls perhaps endlessly harassing this base. How much money does Violet actually have in the bank? I imagine it is not much. Okay, sells off a war factory, sells off a couple of structures here, but no refineries. No refineries at all. So if Violet doesn't have a couple of engineers out on the map or $3 grand in the bank, looks like the refinery has started. Yikes. This is turning really far south for Violet. 1 harvester out on the map. 0 refineries, and First Impact has bought himself so much time that he actually exists in this game now. 1 Tib Spike just ticking away one by one, credit by credit. And yeah, okay, so Violet did have enough money in the bank with the Tib Spike helping out with the sell-off of the buildings. Violet was able to get out that refinery, and hope is kept alive. The MCV isn't targeted down. It is going to be a Predator tank surround as that Flame tank goes down, not getting very much value. Yeah, a command center. Yeah, a power plant. But not enough to really completely halt this GDI player, which is what Violet needs. Suddenly, Violet is the player who needs to stretch out the game length. Needs to stretch out this match, and fortunately these harvesters are just getting free time to refine in the north. Violet is finding a little bit of peace, a little bit of an opportunity. 2nd refinery up and running. 1 war factory, 2 refineries. Suddenly things are not looking that bad for Violet. I think the army on the ground, I'm not sure what the unit counting tabs shows us, but I think the army on the ground is still massively favoring First Impact. It looks like it's a ton of Preds, decent amount of infantry, decent number of Pitbulls as well, even though there's no aircraft, there's no command post. Actually, a command post could be on the way. No reason not to. Yeah, so it feels like First Impact has secured a reasonable shot at this game. I mean, a winning position just to be closed out. And Violet, I feel like it all comes down to that MCV cell, because all of the dominoes that fell were started with that MCV cell that did nothing for Violet. Another harvester going to go down. Trading out the Pitbulls here, probably not that big of a deal. Ordinarily, I would say don't trade out those Pitbulls for just 1 harvester like that. But, like, I don't know. When you've got this many Predator tanks coming in as a follow-up, it feels like, yeah, this might be doable. Laser fence on the Redeemer Engineering Facility needs to come in immediately. He laser fences the refinery. A bit of a panic move there. But, oh, it may actually work out. The Redeemer Engineering Facility isn't being targeted. The sell-off of the refinery may be enough cash to get this Redeemer out. It's so close. And now the Engineering Facility getting targeted down, but down below half health. And no, it wasn't enough time. So close, but the GG gets called, and Violet will back out of this game, taking the L. And First Impact gets the win. Rip Areno. Violet falling to pieces in the end, and what looked like it was going to be a very short match, a very swift game, kind of turns into one of the longer ones of the day. I think this 4v4 that we're about to take a look at will be the longest one of the day. But yeah, that income graph, neck and neck, so close, so close, so close, and now suddenly not close at all as First Impact just shoots up to the moon and Violet completely falls flat. That's Tib Spike money right there, I think, as every harvester gets targeted down, as every harvester goes offline, and the refineries get sacked. And that will do it for our last 1v1 of the day. We have an 8-player game left, but we have made it through the House of Cards. Because if the game crashes during those 1v1s, if I have to reset Kane's Wrath for any reason, things get a little bit slower for you guys on the viewing side. I have to do a bunch of finagling behind the scenes, or we just don't have that UI that you guys got to see. Instead, it's, just like blank nameplates with a bunch of empty spots. And hey, that's basically what we're going to be going to for this next game. But 8 players is way too many to track with all of these stats. So I hope you will forgive me for not having an insane number of stats on the screen for all 8 players in this game. It will be doable eventually, but it is not functional at this point, at least not for me. We're working on a solution for having big team games and having stats in basically all matches, but at the current moment, it is not doable. Big thanks to Double Evil and Lily for all of their work on helping me get these stats up and running, and Magistral as well for helping me get these stats up and running so that you guys can see this stuff. But this stream is, of course, sponsored by Surfshark VPN. The extra time that I have been putting into these streams, today's stream, the Red Alert 3 stream earlier this week, and the Kane's Wrath stream last week as well, that has sort of gotten a snowball rolling on all of this extra stat stuff. Well, that has been due to Surfshark VPN sponsorship. I've been able to take extra time. I've been able to not do my regular contract work and instead spend that time on Kane's Wrath because of Surfshark sponsorship. So big thanks to Surfshark for inadvertently supporting the Command & Conquer community, giving us cool in-game stats and allowing me to have the time to do this kind of stuff. And if you guys don't know about Surfshark VPN, well, let's take a quick minute. I imagine most people watching, you guys have heard of VPNs. You're familiar with their typical use cases, what they do, what they don't do, what they're good at, what they're not good at. And of course, you can go to surfshark.deal/Sybert, use my promo code, for a total of 83% off and 3 extra months for free. So, I ran into a really weird use case for a VPN that I would not have expected. I was at work, I think 2 days ago, and the place where I'm working for the current moment, I'm doing some editing, so I'm working in an office, and we have Wi-Fi in the office, and normally the Wi-Fi works fine. Everything is normal. Before I go home, sometimes I like to download a couple of podcasts, so I've got something while I drive, and I was downloading some podcasts, and for some reason it was not working. I don't know if it was the network at work or if it was my podcast app, Overcast. I don't know. Something was happening where the episodes were not downloading. And so I was like, I'm going to try and force it to use an alternate path. So I turned on Surfshark, and that cleared up something. This is not a normal thing, so I don't know why, but it was one of those weird cases where it's like, oh, this is not a normal use case for a VPN. But I turned on Surfshark, and I was actually able to download the couple of podcast episodes. And Surfshark is fast enough that the downloads were quick enough to be completed shortly, and it's one of those things where it's like, I have no idea why that worked, but it did, and that's one of those things where it's like, does anyone actually know why that worked? Why would switching that on? It's something to do with either the app was caught in some kind of a network loop, and switching over to a VPN allowed it to correct that. But it was just one of those weird cases where it's like having a VPN solved a problem that I had never encountered before. And then, of course, the next day, the network is running fine, and I can download stuff like normal. But you guys may also know that sometimes when you're traveling or when you're looking at products, the prices are different just depending on where you are. So sometimes there is regional price discrimination, and using Surfshark VPN, you can quickly turn it on and off, jump to different locations because there are over 3,200 servers in over 95 countries to be able to check, is there a price difference? And turning Surfshark on and off is very easy and simple, so checking those prices is quick to do. And of course, you know, occasionally you run into situations where you don't want your ISP or someone else, maybe on your local network, to know what websites you're visiting. That's another case where Surfshark can help you out, encrypting that traffic so that, you know, your network administrator may not know exactly what you're doing. But Surfshark is fast, and one thing that I love is that there are no limits to the number of apps that I can install. So it covers myself and my wife, our normal use cases completely. We don't have to try and juggle, you know, like 5 or 6 devices that have the install and then remove one when we need to install it on something else. Nothing like that. Just install and sign in. Unlimited number of devices has been very useful. It's just one of those things that, like, removes a minor headache instead of getting in the way. And of course, the apps are all very easy to use. They've got apps on basically every device that you might use, every device that you might want it on. And with 24/7 customer support and a 30-day money-back guarantee, it's easy to try Surfshark with my code Sybert, and that'll get you, again, a total of 83% off a 24-month plan and 3 extra months for free. You can go to the link, scan the QR code, or go to surfshark.deals/Sybert for that. And big thanks to Surfshark for supporting the Command & Conquer community, for supporting myself, Double Evil, and Lily to work on these stats and get all of that stuff going. But of course, we have one more game to get to. The map is called Summertime, so I'm sure that we'll be having a very fun and easy-going time to this game. I'm sure that everyone will get along, everyone will be very happy and chill because it is summertime. Master Chief asks if this is a new map. I don't know if this is a new map, but it is a new map to me. I don't know if this is an R19 map, and so it is relatively new to the map pool, or if this has just been in the map pool for a while and we haven't ever seen it. But in any case, it is a new map to me, and we are going to be checking it out. Welcome to Summer for game number 6 of this subscriber replay showcase. We have got 4 players on each team. On the left side, spawning as the yellow Zocom. I was almost not up to the north end of the map, but as the yellow Zocom, this is GLA Postal Service. As the green Skrin, this is Wazi. As the purple Skrin, this is Biceps, which is just a funny name. It's just Biceps. And as the pink Steel Talons, this is Alpha Zero. Nothing stops the mail. The GLA Postal Service, delivering you dirty bombs every day of the week. On the right side of the map, making up team number 2 as the orange nod, this is Zanecki. As the Cyan Traveler 59, this is Sir John's. As the blue GDI, this is Arturo. And as the red Skrin, this is Outlaw number 1. Or Outlaw R1 is what I like to say, but Outlaw number 1 is the other name. Couple of tip spikes per player, couple of EMP control center. Looks like GLA Postal Service has already grabbed that. And it looks like, yeah, there are 2 tip spikes per player. And actually, 2 EMP control centers, and that might actually be it. This is a pretty massive map, but it is divided up into teams. So this is one of those maps where it is a pretty solid 4-player setup on each side. It's not like 8 players evenly distributed around the map. There is definitely an east and a west side. And, well, I also did not check if this is a 40K starting resources or not. I didn't see anyone going Crane, so I don't think this is 40K starting. I think this is 10K starting, just based on the number of things that people built right at the start of the game. GLA Postal Service looking to make a delivery. Okay, he is transferring. No, okay, that was just a missed rally. That is a misplaced rally on that Harvester. I thought he was maybe going to transfer back to this field, but I guess not. He is indeed sending it back to the field. Yeah, we are seeing some different folks that we've seen in these team games before. Double Evil and Master Chief are both excited to see Outlaw #1 back in it. Well, hopefully you guys can keep cheering for him. If he ends up losing this one, I think the last time we saw him, he did lose. So if he ends up losing this one, we'll see if they are fair weather friends or if they abandon him in this case. But at any rate, we do have 8 players, a couple of GDI. Well, actually only 1 GDI. Steel Talons, a Zocom, and a GDI. And then 3 Scrin players and a Traveler 59, and only 1 Nod player. So the opportunity for tons and tons of Scrin units is definitely here in this game. But we do get to see, you know, maybe some Zocom units, maybe some Steel Talons units. Always nice to see those lesser-played factions make an appearance. And no Marked of Kane, so no, like, super EMP mode. Just regular old Nod EMPs, and I guess GDI and Scrin EMPs, but no tripods out on the field currently. EMP control centers have been grabbed by both teams. Outlaw and GLA Postal Service will be the players that we look to land those money EMP shots to get that big, big splash on your opponent's units and to lock down any aircraft. I just realized we have 2 Scrins on one side, and then 1 Scrin and a Traveler 59 on the other side. So this might just turn into infinity packs on both sides of the map, just going for massive, massive damage against each other. Huge planetary assault carrier armies on both sides. And well, we do have GDI on both sides of the map as well. So that does mean we can have tungsten shells on both sides, just blasting those packs one after the other. Casper hopes to see some Steel Talons shenanigans. I don't know. We do have MRTs out on the field. I haven't seen if they're loaded with anything. Ooh, MRTs and Disruptors would be sick. Flying MRTs and Disruptors may not work. I feel like there's something weird about Disruptors and MRTs when they're flying, because Disruptor range is relatively short. So you have to get the MRTs pretty close to units and buildings to be able to do damage, and flying might cause a problem with that. I'm not 100% sure. But Disruptors inside of Disintegrators is what I mean. Disintegrators, not Disruptors. Disintegrators inside of MRTs would be pretty sick. Seeker Tanks pushing away Sir John's from the middle of the map. Relatively calm and passive openings from everybody. I mean, it really isn't all that crazy. Another Orca Strike. No, that's not an Orca Strike. That's Firehawks getting a splash damage double strike on the Tier 3 of Sir John's and Zanecki. That is a double kill on Tier 3. You thought you were safe because you put your tech together. And no, you weren't safe. The Firehawks came in, they bombed it out, and that is the end of that Tier 3 for those players. The chaos is beginning indeed, Master Chief, as Shockwave Artillery fires off, as well as this Shockwave on top of a massive number of Harvesters as well. The Harvesters not actually all getting tagged. The one on the north side did get missed, and the Disruption Tower is providing stealth to these units, so it will be a little bit of a back and forth as these players hope to find that damage and then miss, and the Disruption Towers can only be placed down by one side of the map, so there may be an inherent stealth advantage for the team on the right side. Eradicator Hexpod out on the field, going to be targeting down these epic units. Will be very important as the game progresses. Beam cannons getting big shots against these MRTs, and the MRTs going for, I assume, a scout. If they're going for anything else, then this was an ill-fated decision, and it does come to an end there. But kind of an expensive scout, like 5 or 6 MRTs just proceeding into the enemy base, almost blind. And, oh, you guys just got to see the Juggernauts doing their little pecking thing like they're chickens. Always a delight to see the Crane Dance or the MRTs go for their... Oh, man, double Firehawk goes down. The Crane Dance or the Juggernauts go for their little chicken pecking at the ground kind of a move. Firehawks, the name of the game for... who is this? Is this GLA Postal Service? I assume. Yeah, okay. GLA Postal Service. He's got that ceramic armor. He's got Stratofighter as well. Those Zocom aircraft. And, well, the Marv is on the front line. Defending so far for Arturo. No big attacks from either team, but big buildups from both sides of the map. Juggernauts, beam cannons, pit bulls, planetary assault carriers, devastator warships, Firehawks. What happened here? I'm not actually sure how that Mechapede got onto that section of the map, but that was a little bit problematic, a little bit scary, as the first ion cannon has been deployed. Alpha Zero has the first super weapon of the game, and these Firehawk bombing runs from GLA Postal Service just going in every direction, although that one may actually be from Alpha Zero. Yeah, the double GDI team just doing a good job of staying on top of the Tier 3 snipes, the constant strato-fightering to the other side of the map. And it looks like, yeah, some of that terrain might be passable, but maybe it will cause some problems for those units if they get stuck down there. Nuke is out on the field. It does have a laser fence and master computer countermeasures, so that is a real nuke out on the field from Zeneki. No sneaky nukes. Ion cannon, the first one to count down, but maybe the other side of the map will be the ones to swing back with more super weapons. Arturo. No, this is not Arturo. It's flying over Arturo's base there. The massive number of Firehawks finding targets, bombing them down, and then trying to hide in the corner so that they can Stratofighter out to another side of the map. Devastator warships getting targeted down. I think that was Arturo going for a bombing run, or a missile run. I guess he's got the anti-air missiles, not the bombs, activated on that Firehawk. So it is going to be anti-air missiles swinging through, taking down those aircraft. He does miss the opportunity to hit the drone ship, but that's okay. He'll have another chance at it in a moment. Might need bombs for it that time. And okay, we've done the build-up. This is kind of crazy how little attacking there has been from either side. A little bit of a spat, a little bit of a fight here or there, but just tons of build-up from all 8 players. This feels like a legitimate no-rush 20 minutes kind of thing, as they are just all preparing for the end of days. They are mad prepping to go into the late game. And this is a Marv with double rocket troopers. It's always sad when you're Steel Talons. Don't have a lot of options for what to put in your Marv. But rockets are a fair choice. Rockets always giving you that anti-air opportunity. Firehawks coming in once again. GLA Postal Service just putting a ton of cash into his Firehawks. As a Zocom player, those Firehawks do become your artillery. Whoa! Biceps has been defeated. I'm going to guess that that was a disconnect. So it is very possible that the game up to this point has been massive lag. Of course, for us, we don't see it because it's a replay. But for the players playing this, it might have been pretty heavy lag. And now that one player has disconnected, it might have cleaned up a little bit there. So down in the south, you will see the name bar will not change. Wazi appears to still be in the game, because he is, but Biceps is not in the game. All of his stuff was handed over to GLA Postal Service, so unfortunately it won't fade out or anything. That actually worked out really well for GLA Postal Service, who just took down, I think, 5 tripods, maybe only 4 tripods, but 4 or 5 tripods here, and we'll get the husks as well. Juggernaut's landing a couple of shots here from Arturo. Sir John's has a rift generator as well. And these Firehawk bombing runs just do not stop continually from the left side of the map to the right side of the map, as almost every bit of Tiberium has been gathered up by these two teams. Planetary assault carriers on the front line. 1 random APC got left behind by GLA Postal Service, who now has 2 tech trees, 2 bases, two combinations of units to manage. And I guess GLA Postal Service could actually get an ion cannon and also get a rift generator as the radar jamming missile fires off from Zemmy. Marv steps forward, gets a couple of kills against Wazzy. Wazzy losing a couple of tripods. Sniper teams also here from Arturo, as well as those sniper teams. And oh my goodness, mass disintegrators as well. Firehawks actually finding a little bit of value bombing out these tip spikes. That's a good choice when your opponent has built a ton of anti-air. Get the easy money, get the easy kill by going for those tip spikes. The fight has begun. EMP lands on the Marv, but it's not a big shot as the front lines draw close and then back on off. Those are Firehawks waiting for the bombing run to continue, as those are Firehawks from Arturo, I assume loaded up with anti-air missiles ready to go. The front line completely pulls back. I think this game is going to just turn into a super lag fest once these armies find each other. Arturo might get this Firehawk in the corner. Yes, he will. There's a lot of Firehawks all coming in to assault one lonely Firehawk. Orca Strike comes in. I guess huge defender's advantage for both sides, and they do not want to fight. This is pure... I think someone is beaconing, hey, either get your harvester out of the way or drop a growth accelerator. Either way, do something. Outlaw number 1, beaconing his own drone ship for some reason. And... well, maybe the ion cannon will be the first thing to kind of disrupt the front lines. Maybe the ion cannon will be the first thing to shake things up. Harvester getting targeted down. Might actually escape, just barely. A little bit of health still there. All right. Sir John's coming in. Massive amount of descents, but Buzzer Squad support power gets called in, and big swarm on top of the Marv, but this Marv does have support. It may not actually matter. This is so many descents blasting through that Marv armor, but no, as soon as they stop moving, all of the shots land, and those disruptors go down. The front line is about to open up, but the ion cannon is ready to fire, and it will find some big damage on the Juggernauts. The ion cannon finds a big chunk, but there's going to be the blink forward. The slow field from Sir John's as he comes to the front line and immediately gets blasted. A blink forward and a blast to the past as Zemmy has to wait out 30 seconds until his nuke is ready to go. Shockwave artillery, will it actually find this Eradicator? It does. Arturo finds the shot that he wants as the EMP fires off and the Air Forces take massive damage. FaZe will save the Eradicator as a vapor bomb or something gets called in and denied. Firehawk swinging through. Disruptor or Devastator warships will get knocked down, and that is going to be a massive Tiberium meteor, but that is an economic meteor to fuel a fresh Tiberium field and not for offensive reasons. GLA Postal Service swinging along onto the north side of the map. He's got zone raiders inside of APCs. He's got upgrades, and he has got a couple of targets as the nuke lands off in the south, lands actually in the middle of the map. And Zemmy finds his first strike out on the map. He has been mostly hanging out, building defenses with the best of them, and he finally gets a bit of damage, and as another Marv goes down, another epic unit falls to pieces. GLA Postal Service's massive Scrin Armada, which I guess is left over from Biceps, coming forward to the front line. Juggernauts are here. Even Wazzy shows up with a mastermind to get a little bit of mind control action going on. Shockwave artillery firing off. Supersonic airstrike will take the shields away from every single one of these packs, and This tungsten shell is so powerful as they blast away at those packs, and it feels like the orbital bombardments are the small potatoes in this game. Shockwave artillery and orbital bombardment, they could be game changers, winners or losers in 1v1s, but in this massive 8-player stalemate, it feels like orbital bombardment, that's small potatoes. Shockwave artillery, use it on a harvester. Who even cares? Big fights from both sides, but no ground gained. This is going to be a no man's land kind of a situation. Massive trades of huge armies and no big wins back or forth. Another Tiberium meteor getting called down. It will crash in the north. This is twice that the team on the right side has called in those Tiberium meteors. And this is a wormhole on the right side of the map, but the stasis shield will keep everything safe for now. A critical stasis coming in from one of our scrim players. Outlaw captures everything pretty much with that, and locking down all of these tripods is a giant catch here. But stasis is now expiring. The wormhole has disappeared, and for now the nuke does stand. All of the beam cannons get caught, so these tripods have nothing but venoms opposing them, and they can't quite get the Temple of Nod, but the shockwave artillery will fire off Arturo with the defensive shockwave artillery will actually stop GLA Postal Service in his tracks. Venoms get shot down, and the obelisks get deployed in defense. And no, it will be enough because the orbital bombardment will find the last bits of damage. The massive 4v4 will continue, but with one less super weapon. 4 minutes until the Zocom player can use his rift generator, and that was a massive hit for a Tiberium meteor. Normally, you don't see a Tiberium meteor impact that many units at once, but that was a huge chunk of disintegrators that just got blasted onto another planet. GLA Postal Service, the Zocom player who has a rift generator and calls in Tiberium meteors. He's also got an Eradicator hexapod. And I think that's the only player who has been eliminated is Biceps. I think everyone else is still in this game. I don't know what that was. That was just a mass of chaos and carnage. Firehawks come in. They bomb out one of the rift generators. Sir Johns is not going to be able to use his rift generator. And now Zeneki has rebuilt his nuclear missile, but that is the only super weapon on the right side of the map. The left side of the map is winning in terms of super weapons. And in these stalemate situations, sometimes super weapons are what matters most. Marv comes on out for Arturo. Packs will waste their drones on each other. EMP will fire off. Tries to catch some of these slingshots. Other EMP fires off. I'm not actually sure where that EMP was landing. This is so many behemoths from Alpha Zero. A Steel Talons player who's really living up to the name. The hope of the Steel Talons is to build just massive mechanized armies. I have no idea where that wormhole went. That wormhole could have gone anywhere. Slingshots getting up to fully heroic status with that tungsten shell. They just explode all air units. Heroic slingshots with tungsten shells just do insane amounts of DPS if they can ever close the distance on those units. Yeah, where the heck did that wormhole go? I don't even know. Shockwave artillery comes in. Zone Raiders! Zone Raiders get annihilated, absolutely eviscerated by these hammerheads. Unfortunately, those Zone Raiders will not live to tell their nieces and nephews, their grandchildren about that. More super weapons being added on. Double super weapon for GLA Postal Service. Wazi and Outlaw have both built them as well. 2 fresh rift generators. GLA Postal Service also kind of preserving his vision on the right side of the map. I'm not sure exactly what for, but that Buzzer Swarm support power was probably to keep the vision alive to see more into the enemy's base. Maybe it's for a wormhole in the north or something. All right, Ion Cannon is ready to go once again. Everyone moves back from the front line. Beacons do get deployed as far as potential spots, maybe for a strike, or maybe they want to wait the 1 minute until GLA Postal Service has his Ion Cannon or his Rift Generator ready to go as well. A wormhole mothership. Yeah, that could be the way. Casper might have the solution to either team's problem. It does feel like the team on the left side has been a bit more active with their attacks, and they're trying to, you know, they had all of the Firehawks crossing the map. They had all of the Stratofighter runs. They've had all of the wormholes, all of the, like, backstabby kind of stuff. Zone Raiders landing in their opponent's base, all of that kind of stuff. And the team on the right side is just like, yeah, we're kind of hanging out. We've got this impenetrable front line, and we're hoping that that wins us the day. But massive numbers of disintegrators from GLA Postal Service. 10 seconds until the Rift Generator, and then after that, we got about 3.5 minutes until the next super weapon is ready to go. Mining the center blue Tiberium field, not a bad idea at all. Pax waiting and ready to go. Sir Johns is like, I'm going to be ready for anything that pops out of a wormhole or something. Yeah, one mothership probably would kill close to everyone on both sides. I think you would be able to separate it out, but it would be really close. Rift Generator. Wormhole is going to be threatening the Rift Generator. There's the lockdown as GLA Postal Service will not be able to defend it in time. EMP will fire off, but it only takes away the shields of these tripods, and the tripods from Outlaw number 1 get the kill that he was hoping for, and the Stratofighters return back home as they have bombed something out, but there is no rest for them, no opportunity for them to hang out with their families as the EMP lands just in time to lock down Outlaw's most of his tripods. I guess the phase will save the rest of them, and the other parts of the map have a little bit of action exploding on them as well. Orbital bombardment getting called in on top of those Firehawks. They are off the deck, so they will not die, and these phased tripods are going to try and trade out as much as they possibly can, do as much damage as they can once the phase wears off, because they will be taken down extremely quickly by all of the tripods who are chasing them down. All right, 1 minute, a little under 1 minute until the nuke for Zanecki is ready. That ion cannon has been ready for a long, long time, and it has yet to fire off. Wormhole does get deployed. Oh, no. Oh, no. Where are all of these units going? It's onto the other side of the map, and they're going to find an ion cannon and a rift generator almost on top of each other. So on the other side of the map, I think all of the tripods are being dealt with. These descents are just in so big of numbers that even the shockwave artillery won't be enough to stop them. They're closing in on the rift generator. The Juggernaut's getting huge, huge shots, and I mean, they might have just enough firepower, but no, the stasis will save them as the packs have dealt with some kind of attack on the other side of the map. Massive amounts of descents going down to that shockwave artillery. That was absolutely insane numbers of disintegrators. And the Juggernauts firing away as soon as those descents come back online. They've only got a couple of seconds before the Juggernauts take them down. And the stealth field comes in. One support power will end this rift generator, but it has to be used now. Do they have nothing on the deck? I mean, even the ion cannon could be utilized to quickly annihilate that rift generator. Getting the rift generator so close. Okay, orbital bombardment will come in. Is the RNG good enough? Is the RNG enough? No, it's not. The repairs were too much. The RNG didn't land. And now the engineer comes in. It will get the heal moments before those buzzers crash into it. Outlaw number 1 saves his rift generator. Everything coming through and not enough damage. Ion cannon fires off, but on what? I guess the Temple of Nod a little bit. But the Temple of Nod goes down. Goodbye to the nuke. Goodbye to all of those Firehawks as well. Some of these tip fields have regrown actually a pretty significant amount. Orca Strike also getting called in on that play. Sir Johns loses a huge number of descents. Everybody building just massive disintegrator armies. Stasis will lock down some of these obelisks, some of these buildings, as GLA Postal Service goes crazy with his tripods and tries to bust through the front door and take any kind of attack that he can, but honestly, everything is just dying. It's like you haven't even broken through the front line of defense and everything is already dead. Juggernauts trying to make their way to the front line, and it is going to be just massive damage to all sides, but I don't know how much will actually be done. Outlaw is going to lose that MCB. The Pax, it looks like, will get the kill, but now the slingshots are here, and these tungsten shells are going to eviscerate all of those packs. But no, that was an amazing EMP as it lands on almost every single slingshot. No, truly every slingshot that Arturo sent to the front line, and almost every single one goes down. As something fires off. I don't know. Something massive just landed, but I'm not sure exactly what. As I think an ion cannon just landed. Yeah, an ion cannon just fired off from GLA Postal Service, and the attack will keep coming as Alpha Zero has woken up. The Rift Generator finds huge Juggernaut numbers. Infinite number of Juggernauts, it seems, will go down to this Rift Generator. Their husks as well. Oh no, the entire front line destroyed by the Rift Generator, and the Rift Generator almost alone. Wazi has his own Rift Generator ready to go if he can decide where to use it. Maybe on those Juggernauts, maybe somewhere else. But that Ion Cannon, no matter how much value it got, could not have outdone that Rift Generator from Outlaw. That was the #1 superpower for sure. That super weapon just destroyed an entire army. This might be a good spot for a Rift Generator, either on top of those Juggernauts or on top of these planetary assault carriers. In the north, in the south, fights breaking out in both sections of the map. The Marv falling, and yes, a new Marv from GLA Postal Service now making its way to the front line. Eradicator hexapods trading out in the north and the south. Beam cannons there from Zanecki. And in the back door, okay, it's just a couple of buzzers running through the base. Outlaw #1 looking for those buzzers to try and kill something or keep his vision alive so that he can see a little bit further into the enemy base. Marv goes down, completely cut down by those Juggernauts, and a massive Rift Generator fires off again, but this time on the right side of the map, doing big damage to Sir John's, takes down several planetary assault carriers, but will it be enough to move the needle? It looks like the Firehawks coming in to blast down some more of that front line, but the Firehawks probably all getting annihilated, as there is just so much of everything from every player all at once, all on the front line. Epsilon Bear with the quick math, 36,000 worth of Juggernauts. Yeah, that was a ton of Juggernauts. I don't know if it was actually 30K worth, but it could have been. That could have been 36K worth of Juggernauts. GLA Postal Service rebuilding those super weapons as well. 20 seconds until Sir John's gets his Rift Generator, which did take a lot of damage in the last fight. Another Tiberium Meteor getting called in. Oh, Shockwave Artillery is going to be massive. And 5 seconds until Sir John's can protect these Juggernauts, but will he actually use it there? Someone on the left side is about to get blasted by a Rift Generator. Orbital Bombardment, EMP, the follow-up, the Wombo combo, as someone on the left side unleashes everything that they've got upon those Juggernauts, and even more Behemoths going down. Massive damage done to the army value of the team on the left side. Poor Alpha Zero. That guy has spent, I don't know, 60, 70,000 credits on Behemoths, and he has nothing to show for it because his Behemoths keep getting one-shotted by Rift Generators. Tripods coming to the front line, and they blast every single husk Every single Juggernaut husk from Arturo goes down. Firehawks coming in for a massive pass at these planetary assault carriers. Beam cannons targeting down everything on the front line that they can possibly reach. Another Eradicator Hexapod steps out onto the map, and after all of this fighting, all of these battles, it feels like we are in the exact same spot that we were at the beginning of the game. Well, I guess Biceps is gone. Biceps disconnected forever ago. But other than that, I feel like everything else is pretty much the same as it was at the start of the game. Nothing gained, everything lost. Huge armies on each side just getting completely destroyed. Oh my gosh, so many Firehawks. Only 2 planetary assault carriers are left for the #1 outlaw. The Firehawks sacrificing themselves time and time and time again. Alpha Zero and GLA Postal Service, you have to give it to them. Those constant Firehawk bombing runs all throughout the game, bombing out buildings, using their anti-air missiles to knock down packs and aircraft. They have been so consistent with that throughout almost the entirety of this game. Eisen the Vampire wants to see someone steal all of the husks, but honestly, the husks generally don't stay around long enough to even be captured. The Rift Generator kills the husks, or someone heads out to knock all of the husks down. Firehawks coming in for another massive pass. 3 more planetary assault carriers go down. Only 1 remains as the ion cannon from Alpha Zero is ready to fire off for the 3rd time in this game. Insane numbers of super weapons in this match, and it will find its mark. More Juggernauts. The Marv as well finding a bit of damage, taking a bit of damage from that. And of course, it's so sad that the ion cannon, ever since they got sped up for the community patch so that it would be more effective against armies, that the animation just doesn't land in the same way. But it still does a decent chunk of damage. 40 seconds until the next ion cannon, and then 1 minute until Outlaw's Rift Generator. Oh man, those Devastator warships trying to hit slingshots just is not going to work out. Slingshots going heroic, picking off Devastator warships, able to just cut them down. No, the slingshot did go down. It's the slingshots getting eliminated. Oh no, another wormhole on the left side of the map. This time the Eradicator Hexapod comes with it, and this Rift Generator will be cleaned up. Stasis catches everything and saves them from the EMP one way or the other. I don't know who fired off that stasis. I assume it was either WASI or GLA Postal Service, but do they actually have anything in place to deal with this massive Skrin army? Outlaw is about to come back online, and he might actually be able to escape. Is he going to be able to? Did someone just drop a secondary wormhole? No, okay. It does look like there wasn't another wormhole there. I thought someone dropped an additional wormhole onto the front line. Someone just fired off a catalyst missile as well, taking down perhaps a refinery as Shockwave Artillery fires off. And this ion cannon isn't actually going to survive. GLA Postal Service just wants to fire off his ion cannon for the next time. Tripod's back out on the field, and FaZe will fire off. EMP lands as well. The tripods all get locked down, and this Eradicator Hexapod is surviving for now, but that Eradicator might actually die even though it's phased. It might have so little HP that the Juggernauts can get through the phase armor. I think it's getting lower and lower. We just saw a phased unit die! Something that almost never happens. No, the splash damage! The splash damage killed the Ion Control Center and not the unit. Oh no! These Juggernauts, or these behemoths from Alpha Zero, doing so much damage to everyone, it seems. Juggernauts on the move from Arturo. The front line moving forward. The team on the left side may be too distracted by that wormhole attack. They may have lost their front line as the Juggernauts find more and more damage. The super weapons getting knocked down might be the first domino to fall. But no, it is going to be a strike back across to the other side of the map. No, it's the wormhole into the middle. The wormhole almost on top of these juggernauts, and the tripods can close the distance. The tripods just rushing forward. GLA Postal Service says, I will not be stopped. Not rain, nor sleet, nor hail, not the fire of the juggernauts will stop the Postal Service from delivering tripods to your front door. And the tripods may not be in good enough numbers to come through for the win, but the Rift Generator can finish up anything else that comes through. Wow, I feel like this game was worth it just because we got to see a phased unit die. This is something that Master Leaf investigated and found out, is that phased units actually just receive, like in the code of the game, the way that phase works, it doesn't actually make the unit take no damage. It does something like an insane armor buff. It's like, give unit 9999999 armor or something. It does something like that in the code, but that means they can still take damage. So when you have an unholy number of artillery, like Spectres or Juggernauts, doing damage to a unit, you can actually kill it through the phase armor. And I feel like that is one of those really special things that you would never get to see under a normal use case. 2 stealth tanks get cleaned up there as well. Massive Juggernaut deaths in the last minute from Arthuru. GLA Postal Service finds a bunch of kills with the tripods and then finds a bunch more kills with the Rift Generator as well. Alpha Zero, he's got a couple of minutes until the next Rift Generator absolutely destroys all of his behemoths. And these planetary assault carriers, I'm not sure why they ended up over the enemy buildings like that, just kind of hanging out, not doing very much. But that is what they have decided to do. Wazi, with a couple of Mechapedes on the right side of the map, trying to do a bit of damage. Killing off one refinery feels like spitting in the ocean compared to everything else that's going on in this game. But maybe that will be the first domino that falls, is killing off a couple of those buildings, a couple of those refineries to slow down your opponents that much more. Planetary assault carriers from Sir John's, I think they have all been cleaned up now. Those guys have just found some damage, just getting parked over their opponent's bases. And I guess the anti-air was so weak from the team on the left side that those packs were able to survive a good long while. Beam cannons from Zanecki. This is one of those sneaky and somewhat underutilized. I mean, people these days do know how good the beam cannon combo is. But there was a middle point where beam cannons just weren't used a super ton. Arthuro trying to reclaim some of these husks. He will indeed get some of them. He gets the crush on that husk as well. And Outlaw reclaiming some of the husks from, it looks like, both sides. He gets a Juggernaut, gets some tripods as well. Not sure who originally owned all of those. Engineers, 4 engineers into the Marv for Alpha Zero. He says, I need a maximum sponge. I need the biggest sponge that anyone has ever seen, which is a Steel Talons Marv with 4 engineers inside of it. You get that Marv with the quad engineer, it can absorb a lot. Firehawks come through once again. They're going to Stratofighter out. I think only one Firehawk going down in that moment. Let's go Sponge. Master Chief cheering for the Sponge above all else. 10 seconds until the next ion cannon fires off. Well, I guess it's ready to fire off. But massive, massive usage of Alpha Zero's ion cannon. All of the other super weapons have not had a very good fire to build ratio. The ion cannon from Alpha Zero has fired off, I think, every single time, and it has landed some pretty massive shots. But everyone else just keeps killing off each other's super weapons. The team on the left side will send a bunch of units over to the right side to kill off a bunch of super weapons, and then everyone will just kind of forget about Alpha Zero's one ion cannon, which was the first one built and has just been so consistent throughout this game. All right, Outlaw rebuilding, repositioning his drone ship, ready for anything. 1 minute until his Rift Generator is ready to go, but 40 seconds until Zanecki's nuke is ready. Oh, these slingshots are fresh. They're green recruits. They're here on the front line, but they have not seen very much of this battle. I wonder the longest time that a unit has survived in this game at all. Massive wormhole comes in from GLA Postal Service. Tripods spread out pretty nicely, so the stasis does lock down a good chunk of them, but not enough. Shockwave artillery going to be landing, but it will mostly miss most of these tripods as they head to the north. And 20 seconds, but only 2 seconds until that nuke is ready to go. Firehawks coming in as well. The Firehawks do most of the damage, but the tripods should be able to finish off that rift generator. Only 10 seconds on the clock, and they will take it down. The nuke is ready. The tripods have pretty much all fallen away. An ion cannon follow-up might be just the ticket to keep this damage rolling and deal with some of this. Prepare the sponge on the front line, but the attack isn't coming through. It's just the tripods from GLA Postal Service. Nothing else is firing off. Double Obelisk gets EMP'd. There is actually an assimilator here as well, but it looks like the tripods will slowly but surely fall away. Tier 3 does get grabbed. MCV gets grabbed as well. A pretty killer stasis shield gets dropped there. In a normal game, that would be a pretty massive stasis. Tier 3 and an MCV at the same time. Ion cannon fires off on top of Sir John's rift generator. The last bombs fall, but it's not enough. The Firehawks didn't have enough in number to withstand all of the anti-air from Sir John's and the team on the right side, and the rift generator survives. The nuke survives. It is fired off somewhere on the right side on the left side of the map. There is where it landed, and these two behemoths taking some damage at some point. The sponge is still here. The sponge hiding amongst those trees. No one here but us trees. As another Tiberia meteor crashes down onto the right side of the map. I feel like in the first part of Kane's Wrath's history, most people are using Overlord's Wrath as an attack. And then, as the game has progressed, people have realized that it's actually much, much more useful as an economic weapon instead of an offensive one. As an economic ability instead of an offensive one, might be the better way to put that. Another Marv? Nope. Another Juggernaut out on the map. A couple of tripods here, but this actually feels like a pretty small attacking force. Fortunately, the sponge is with it. The sponge is just not on the front line. GLA Postal Service, with only 30 seconds left on his rift generator, feels like he should have waited to attack until he had his rift generator ready to go. Maybe he could have found all of these Firehawks. Maybe he could have found those tripods and those Juggernauts. Firehawks coming in. They clear out a huge chunk of those hammerheads. And no, Arturo shows up. He strato-fighters 10 feet over just to miss absolutely everything. And now that the attack has died, the attack has fallen away. Only 10 seconds until the rift generator. Well, I guess you use it over here. I guess you silence Sir John's army, or maybe you try and silence Sir John's rift generator. Either way, it won't end the game, but it can end this army. Rift generator is ready to go on both sides of the map. Pax will escape. Outlaw does take a ton of damage. The rift generator fires off, lands on a bunch of Juggernauts, a bunch of tripods as well. Leaves the Pax in the south. Zanecki, his MCV crossing the middle of the map. Are you kidding me? He is coming here to the front line with his beam cannons, and there is a rift generator to back him up. Sir John's, as soon as anyone tries to attack this MCV, Sir John's can delete their army with his rift generator. Behemoths closing in. This is a lot of behemoths. This is actually a bunch of Ox transports as well. The Venom bounce. The beam cannon Venom bounce. Finding massive damage. Okay, this is the time to use that rift generator. You've got a bunch of targets that are all valid, but it doesn't even matter because the MCV is gone. EMP locks down some of those, and it's going to be Vapor Bomb on top of these Juggernauts, doing hardly anything. Shockwave artillery also firing off, largely missing, as Sir John's has not used his rift generator yet. He's still waiting for that ideal moment, that perfect opportunity to use it. Pax in the south doing I don't know what, maybe catching Firehawks or something. Those Pax might have actually just killed off a bunch of Firehawks and silenced them. Mothership. All right. This might be it. No, the mothership goes down. Wazzy attempted with the mastermind. He doesn't even sell off the refinery. No, he doesn't manage it. Outlaw number 1 and Sir John's too fast on those anti-air defenses. There's too many anti-air defenses. It might be one of those things where you can't actually call in the mothership. You have to call in the mothership and then like use buzzers or your own units to chain it into your opponents. That's a bike rush kind of move, using the mothership on your own units and then trying to just get really precise and lucky with the placement of everything. Oh, all right. I don't know if that was worth it. A catalyst missile on riflemen? Was that really worth it? I mean, it does a massive amount of damage, but that's a money shot for that Rift generator as it finds a ton of behemoths once again. 8, 10 behemoths, maybe 12, something like that, as those behemoths disappear. Sir John's has gotten some massive, massive Rift generator shots. Wormhole does deploy. All right, GLA Postal Service gets the MCV, and lifts it off. Okay, so he does lose the MCV. He doesn't sell it off. He was clearly trying something there, but it did get spotted almost immediately by the number 1 outlaw in this game. Eradicator Hexapod, the eternal fight of beam cannons and corruptors, dealing damage and healing. All right, Zone Raiders getting called in, but they will get absolutely annihilated by this Skrin army. Outlaw completely knocks that down, takes it away. GLA Postal Service trying the sneaky deliveries to the opponent's bases. I guess I didn't really notice, but this map does have some pretty hefty areas of air zone only, of like of essentially dead airspace. So you do have those little pockets where Firehawks can escape. It's not like you can build all the way up to the edge everywhere. You do have little pockets which are only usable by the aircraft. I feel like the first 5 games that we covered were half of this stream, and then this game, this 1 4v4 is the other half. I didn't realize when I looked at this map, I should have been like, oh man, that was a heroic Firehawk. I don't know if it survived, but that was a heroic Firehawk that just dropped bombs. Yeah, the heroic Firehawk survived in a double vet Firehawk as well. But wow, we just got to see a heroic Firehawk as well. Orbital bombardment calling down. Pax getting taken out. Supersonic airstrike as well, but it mostly misses. It was kind of misplaced there. And it mostly missed those Pax. 5 seconds until the next ion cannon. And after that, only 20 seconds until the next nuke from Zanecki. Wazzy walking around with his Eradicator Hexapod. He's going to have to teleport away to save it, and he does. Ion cannon is ready. 10 seconds until the nuke. These super weapons, they've been fired off many, many times, and it's like they just don't land. They don't do enough damage when you've got 8 players, when you've got the map this stalematey, when you've got the sections this divided up, this locked down. Man, that's a lot of tripods. Arturo is a GDI player, by the way, so all of these tripods have been recovered. Arturo is not actually the original builder of those. Wazzy loses that drone ship. Nuke and ion cannon ready to go. Minute and a half until GLA Postal Service's Rift generator. Ion cannon fires off somewhere. All right. On top of the Rift generator, I assume there's Firehawks going to come in at some point. Oh, no. It's a massive cover. Is this a cover for Firehawks? It has to be. Yes, it is. The run of the Firehawks to drop their bombs. They get the Rift generator, but not the drone ship. Rifleman on top of it, but it'll be the orbital bombardment. The first shot gets the kill. There is still some life in the team on the left side. And this Eradicator Hexapod has a pretty massive amount of damage that it has absorbed up. Maybe the Eradicator Hexapod with Corruptors is the true sponge. That's the realest sponge of all. That was a massive kill on that Rift generator. Something else, some big sound effect just played. I don't know what it was. Oh, it was a nuke firing off. That's what it was. Nuke lands. I only see one husk. Yeah, only a couple of husks here. Some big building damage. It looks like low power for Wazzy. So Wazzy, as the screen representative on the left side with GLA Postal Service, he's low on power. Oh, another wormhole comes in. Shockwave artillery fires off as well. Massive lockdown on all of these tripods, and the MCV does get grabbed by Outlaw. The #1 Outlaw escapes with his mastermind as well. The RNG letting that mastermind survive. And there is actually going to be Zanecki. Zanecki comes in clutch with a disruption tower to stealth a bunch of these units and these buildings, but the rift generator will fire off onto the right side of the map. Use it somewhere because you're about to lose it. So if you ever wanted to see what a black hole leaving a building looks like, that is it. And this disruption tower is the funniest choice of all. You have to give it to Zanecki going for that disruption tower, going for this stealth, as all of these tripods try to spread out. Arturo spreading his tripods that he got, I guess, from Outlaw or somebody. He got all of these tripods from somebody. Now that the phase has worn off, GLA Postal Service can actually kill them off, but the tripods have spread so far south. It's not the attack through the front door, it's the spread out tripod backstab that shows up, that gets phased, and then uses the phase time to spread out everywhere onto the map. Alpha Zero gets absolutely gutted in the south. Everything going down. Those Firehawks that have done so much to keep the team on the left side in this game, doing so much to keep everything rolling. And another massive super weapon firing off somewhere. No, a drone ship getting sniped in the north. A drone ship getting taken down. And these tripods have no response. The game has stretched out long enough. It seems Alpha Zero keeps pinging. He's like, hey guys, do something, do anything. But no one was responding. Now, GLA Postal Service moving to the south as these tripods have done insane damage to Alpha Zero. He can rebuild. He can remake everything. It is going to be a long time before he is back up to full power. The MCV has survived, and that will be the last of those tripods getting cleaned up. Outlaw still has this sneaky, that sneaky MCV on the left side. I think he also grabbed another MCV over here. He's found some ways to sneak out some units. Outlaw #1, finding the sneakiest strategies on all corners of the maps. Yeah, that was the stalemate breaker. That was the closest thing we've had to the stalemate breaker. Ion cannon fires off, lands in the north, misses the mastermind. The mastermind gets stasised, though. It does not give back the drone ship. And okay, they do see the drone ship there. And oh, he was trying to get it back. GLA Postal Service trying to get the drone ship back, but it was not meant to be. Eradicator Hexbot hasn't gone up to heroic yet. Hasn't gone full heroic yet. It's almost there, but it's been almost there for a while. More and more super weapons being added into the mix. Sir John's rebuilds his rift generator. Arturo gets an ion cannon as well. Another Tibfield gets spawned in by the Overlord's Wrath. This one game has spread out for so long, I think I'll just end up sleeping and this game will still be going on. What? What was that? Was that splash damage? I don't know what just happened, but Juggernauts just fired on Outlaw's Eradicator, and I think somebody spawned in like buzzers, and then the Eradicator just got splash damaged by Juggernauts. I don't know what just happened, but I think that's what just happened. Rift Generator is ready to go for Wazzy. Wazzy looking for that. Oh, beam cannons. That might be a good spot for that Rift Generator. I'm not sure if they actually see that. There's a bunch of beacons going down on the front line. Scan does reveal some of this stuff. EMP will land. Gets all 3 packs. Sometimes the EMP looks like it does nothing at all, but that time it lands with serious effect. This would be a massive rift generator to deny all of those beam cannons. I mean, Zanecki can rebuild them. He wouldn't be totally out of it, but... yeah, okay. Buzzers called in. You guys seem to agree. Buzzers getting called in, and then the Juggernauts doing splash damage, doing friendly fire to that Eradicator is what killed it off. I don't know. That was a pretty crazy little moment there to catch somewhat randomly. But there's so much insanity in this game. There's so much chaos and carnage. I mean, look at this. Alpha Zero, who was almost dead like a couple of minutes ago, still has a massive Juggernaut army, still has his Chief Sponge, and now has rebuilt 3 airfields, 12 Firehawks, and is ready to go once again. Oh no! The drone ships! GLA Postal Service trying a sneaky drone ship attempt along the northern edge of the map. Oh, he's trying to chain. This is almost certainly he was trying to set up a chain to get into his opponent's base with a Catalyst Cannon shot. That would be a pretty massive kill. The Sponge is eternal indeed. War Factory gets targeted down. War Factory gets eliminated. MCV does not, though. MCV still around. Double Railgun, double Engineer, it looks like, for Arturo. Ion Cannon ready to go. Rift Generator finds not as many behemoths this time, but still a good number. There's probably 3 or 4 there, 4 or 5 here. Actually, in total, that might have been like 11 Juggernauts. Maybe even 12. I definitely didn't see all of them at first, but a couple of them almost walked into it by the end of it. Ion Cannon still ready to go. I think a Catalyst missile just fired off. I don't know. Something just fired off. Massive nuke comes in, lands on all of the tripods. That's what that sound was. Rift Generator 30 seconds away. Wazi has his Rift Generator. Alpha Zero has his Ion Cannon. The team on the left side seems to be banking. Never mind. Devastator warships being devastated as they fall to the ground. But okay, GLA Postal Service and Wazi can combine their double Rift Generators to basically nuke anything. They might be going for Sir John's Rift Generator. I don't know. But they do have a little window here where they can basically eliminate Sir John's Rift Generator if they choose to. Shockwave Artillery firing off. Firehawks come in. The Devastator warships go down. Shockwave Artillery in the north will find something, but the Rift Generator will find the rest of the damage. And Wazi has his own Rift Generator, but so does now Sir John's, as he is going to be able to do something. Oh, this tripod army is almost certainly the right spot to use that Rift Generator for Sir John's. And Wazi loses his Rift before he ever actually used it. The Rift Generator gets eliminated. One random sniper team. Oh, the sniper team surprise. Something that you never expect. These tripods, I feel like they need to be spread out. Sir John's has a Rift Generator ready to go. Maybe he'll use it in the south, but it feels like that massive tripod army is the perfect target. Alpha Zero still in this game. Oh, the Marv goes down. Alpha Zero's Sponge finally gets eliminated. F's in the chat for the Marv. Rift Generator fires off. Sir John does not kill off those tripods. He killed something else. Maybe he got the Marv. If he got the Marv and he didn't get those tripods, that would be a huge loss for him. Sniper teams trying to sneak along the south edge of the map, trying to find little opportunities. Another drone ship does get called in. Okay, here's another attempt. There are a couple of plasma missile batteries here, so I don't think it will work. Mothership is here. Down too low. The health bar is too quick. Stasis is nice, but it's not enough. Better luck next time. I do like the attempt with the double storm column, but I don't know. Maybe you need the ion cannon first to lock down some of these buildings, to shut some of them down, and then the stasis before the mothership actually gets called in. Or maybe the stasis as the mothership is getting called in. I don't know. Either way. 4 or 5 juggernauts getting caught there. 4 juggernauts, a harvester, a slingshot, and a couple of other things getting caught by that ion cannon. GLA Postal Service using his ion cannon to get a bit of damage, but is it going to be enough to open up the front door? Nope. As the tripods all explode and the ion cannon of Arturo finds massive damage on its first outing. Arturo so late to join the super weapons game, and just massive shot against tripods on his first attempt. Huge damage against GLA Postal Service. Juggernauts are here. Stealth does get bombed away. Juggernauts slowly dealing with these descents, and the husks won't be reclaimed. I think they're going to be targeted down by the team on the right side. Not going to be given an opportunity. Sir Johns loses his Eradicator in the south. And the Eradicator of Outlawn keeps the front line moving forward, but it's going to be the Juggernauts that win the day, but not if they can't deal with these Devastator warships. I mean, the Juggernauts can clean up the tripods, but not if those Devastator warships are cleaning them up. Another drone ship going down somewhere out on the map. I'm not actually sure where all of this massive action is happening, but EMP? No EMP on the slingshots. A couple of them do survive, and there isn't enough damage here to kill them all before the EMP wears off. Wormhole comes in. Wormhole catches as this shockwave fires off, and Wazi almost loses his fully heroic Eradicator. Shockwave artillery not going to be enough, and the Devastator warships will be devastated by these slingshots. One by one, those Devastators will go down. The Eradicator gets a couple of crushes, and Mass Engineer running to the front line for Arturo. He's hoping to reclaim some of these husks, and indeed he will. Slingshots getting targeted down, Engineers getting sniped, but some husks have been reclaimed. Not all husks, though, get captured. Another beacon gets deployed, but it's not of note as this Eradicator has backed up. Or no, the Eradicator is still surviving, but EMP'd. Trying to back up. This Eradicator hoping to escape. The phase will wear off soon. One tripod down. Second tripod needs to get another EMP after the phase wears off so that these Juggernauts can land their shots. Ooh, the Juggernauts almost landing money shots, but it's not quite enough. Pax, another one does go down. Firehawk's a little bit too late from Arturo to defend all of that. The fight just never ends. GLA Postal Service, Wazi, and Alpha Zero fighting an incredible 3v4. I mean, they have been going most of this game in this 3v4 mode. There is a way in which sometimes having fewer players can be an advantage in terms of money per player, but usually the inability to control as many armies, as many units, is what is your downfall, and the other team can outstrip you just in like pure mechanical performance. And that doesn't seem to be happening here. So there could be a situation where the team on the left side, who's been rolling with 3 people for so long, because of they get a little bit more money per player. Rift Generator on top of the Firehawks. It claims like 6 of them. At least 5 Firehawks going down to that Rift Generator, absolutely annihilating the airfields. Big damage on the Tier 3 as well. The Eradicator Hexapod back up to full health as well. Nuke is ready. Ion Cannon is ready. 20 seconds until the next Rift Generator. A minute until the one after that. Everyone is so ready to go. Supersonic Airstrike cleans up the Hammerheads, and the beam spam is real. EMP fires off, catches a ton of the beam cannons, and an Orca Strike, or no, it's actually going to be Zone Raiders as well. Shockwave Artillery, EMP, and Zone Raiders to no, the Catalyst Missile. The Catalyst Missile saves the beam cannons, and they also get phased. All right, we have 3 super weapons ready to fire off, with a 4th only 30 seconds away. The engineer running for his life from the front line. Outlaw with his own double vet Eradicator. He hasn't quite gone up to that tier, that heroic Eradicator yet. Firehawks from a thorough clean up all of the hammerheads from whoever. Orbital bombardment, but the phase hasn't actually worn off yet. Bye-bye. The phase wears off, but all of the beam cannons have pretty much escaped to safety. Absolutely insane amounts of damage on every side of the map. Sir Johns comes forward with another Eradicator. Sir Johns loses another Eradicator. I think he's lost more epic units than anyone, but he has also gotten some absolutely massive Rift Generator hits. We now have 4 super weapons completely counted down, with only a minute to go until GLA Postal Service can add a 5th to that total count. Fully heroic Eradicator, pretty good unit. Like one-shotting packs just about. Going for the kill on the signal transmitter as well. We'll need to blink away sooner rather than later. Vane Detonation comes in, and the Rift Generator will find its mark. The Eradicator hoping to blink away, but the Eradicator is withstanding it. A black hole opens up above its head, and the Eradicator survives. Beam cannons, though, will burn it down. Massive win for those beam cannons as the ion cannon misses. Moments too late, moments too slow. You thought you had the saving move there, but no. What a twist. A Rift Generator can't kill a fully heroic Eradicator. Yeah, that was Sir John's. That was Sir John's Rift Generator. And now, oh no! Alpha Zero has been defeated. Alpha Zero leaves the game. Rift Generator and an Ion Cannon together on the right side of the map, but it's not fast enough to stop Arturo, whose Ion Cannon survives and whose anti-air gets rebuilt basically immediately. 3 super weapons in that section of the world, and all 3 survive that blast. Nuke has found its mark. Nuke is looking for a target. The Ion Cannon as well will find something. The nuke lands on the planetary assault carriers. I guess that's Wazi's planetary assault carriers. The nuke lands as a defensive option. The planetary assault carriers won't last too much longer against all of the plasma missile batteries of Sir John's. Sir John's with massive Scrin anti-air, and it is now a 2v4. The team on the right side untouched by player losses. I mean, GLA Postal Service and Wazi, you have to hand it to them. Oh, and a Commando as well. This Commando has been doing big damage. This Disruption Tower is still here. For some reason, they haven't killed off that Disruption Tower. GLA Postal Service, he's losing in this MCV. The Commando from Arturo doing big, massive damage to who knows what, but a whole bunch. That actually might have been what killed off Alpha Zero, was the Commando coming through and just wrecking his base while we were looking elsewhere on the map. Turns into a 2v4, but I don't think the team of 2 is going to be able to withstand, oh my gosh, triple portal descent. Massive numbers of descents going to be coming in here for GLA Postal Service, but I just don't think it will matter. Outlaw number 1, Arturo, Sir Johns, and Zanecki. I think we'll be able to win this 4v4. Juggernauts, well, maybe they won't be able to defend their home if they can't get back there fast enough. Commando going for the kill. Gets the Reclamator hub. We'll be able to clean up a chunk of these descents as well. How many descents would it take to kill off a commando? I don't know if we're actually going to find an answer to that. The reinforcements will be getting cut down by that commando, though. Yeah, that commando just laying waste to massive numbers of descents. Oh no, the buzzers and the juggernauts killing everything. So many descents annihilated there. And this commando will not die. Catalyst missile comes in, lands on dual refineries, and that is gonna be it. I think the team on the right side is finally going to be able to do it. It was a good attempt from the team on the left side. Massive amounts of super weapons, insane amounts of action, just complete carnage from every corner of the map. This commando just doing so much damage. Arturo almost unstalemating the game with just his commando. Obviously, there were some other things at work as well, and you need a follow-up to the commando. But for now, this commando's still just doing pretty massive damage. Could go for the tib spikes after that. Ooh, all 8 of the tib spikes actually survived. So they were held by the correct people so that they did not fall apart when, for example, Alpha Zero left the game. Rift Generator fires off, finds a bunch of power plants, finds the Tier 3, a war factory, and a couple of tripods as well. The commando comes in to clean up the rest. This lightning spike is like, I'll get the kill. No, you won't. It was a nice attempt by the lightning spike. And now the commando just shooting a building. Like, you have bombs, you know, you can blow the building up entirely. No. We will get a... GG gets called. GLA Postal Service and Wazi have both been defeated, and that will do it for our final game of the day. 1 hour long, but huge action, huge stalemate. So many super weapons over the course of this game. GLA Postal Service getting that double player income from the very beginning. Just massive income over the course of that game. Let's see. GLA Postal Service closes in on a million, but doesn't quite get it. 900K. Let's look at the totals for each team. 2.1 million. 2.1 million. Wow! It comes down to less than 20 grand of difference between these two teams. It's like 12,000 credits of difference across the two teams. Incredibly close. And Disintegrators, the favorite unit across both teams. That tracks. That makes a lot of sense. But a big thanks to everyone for joining me for this stream, for these games. It's been a ton of fun, and we have seen some pretty crazy action. But, of course, a big thanks to Surfshark VPN as well for sponsoring this stream. You can, of course, go to surfshark.deals/Sybert. Use promo code Sybert to ensure that you're getting the full 83% off and the 3 extra months for free. Big thanks to Double Evil and Lily for helping me out with the in-game overlay that you saw in the first 5 games, helping me develop that further and make it better. Big thanks to all of you guys for joining me for the stream. And, of course, the VOD will be available. It should be available immediately, so if you missed any of the action, the 1v1s weren't super good. It was definitely a bit of meh in some of those games, but you do get to see the new features of the overlay. And, of course, this massive over 1 hour long 4v4 to finish us out. 1 hour and 14 minutes. A 74-minute long game, just full of action and really good attempts by both teams. We'll let this song play us out as this is Sybert signing out, thanking you all very much for joining me for this stream.